Chapter 700. In an instant, the academic community was shocked. Generally, teachers would have to be in their 30s or 40s to be appointed as professors. Being a guest professor was an honorary title that didn't have as high requirements as being appointed as a professor. However, it was basically given to well-known scholars, entrepreneurs, inventors, and so on. They were often older too. But how old was Xianxia? 20 years old. A 20-year-old guest professor. There weren't many in the entire country. Netizens arrived at the scene one after another, and the comments section of this Weibo post became lively. Sister E is probably the youngest professor in history, right? No, her second brother, Xianxia, was appointed as a professor at the age of 17 or 18. I'm kneeling down to him. Sister E isn't that good, but she's still very impressive. Our kid is so hardworking. Her old mother shed tears of relief and kicked OD, who can't even solve a second-grade math problem. I'm dying of laughter. She can be appointed as a professor just because she drew a few scribbles? Are the guest professors in the academic community so lousy? What do you mean by scribbles? If you're so good, go ahead. First, they were in danger, and then they were lucky enough to be rescued. The production crew's limbs were all weak. Just now, they couldn't react at all and forced themselves to continue with the live stream. After being rescued, everyone didn't even have the strength to hold the equipment. The live stream ended at the scene where Xianxia hugged Xianxia tightly. At the scene, Xianxia said softly, "Xianxia, don't be afraid, we're safe now." As a result, the young girl felt the hands on her waist tighten even more. The man lowered his eyes, his emotions difficult to discern. Xianxia thought that he was angry and patted the man on the back. "I wasn't impulsive. I weighed the pros and cons before making up my mind. I'm almost 90% sure that I can get rid of that snake." She had been in danger too many times in the past, and even after returning to this world for so long, her physical and mental instincts were still there. Xianxia didn't think that today's danger was anything special. The man's hoarse voice sounded beside her ear. "I'm not angry." After a pause he said, "Our sister E did very well." Xianxia was a little happy to be praised by the person she loved. She rubbed herself against his chest. She seemed to be acting spoiled. Xianxia gently rubbed the back of the girl's neck. His long and narrow eyes were filled with ruthlessness and malice. He was thinking about what Xianxia had gone through in the past year. Did he suffer a lot? Suffered a lot of grievances? A lot of tears? Such a nice little rabbit? He didn't dare to think too deeply about it. Li Jinyu rested for a while, rubbed his face with his hands and shouted, "Everyone cheer up. It's getting late and it gets dark quickly in the mountains. Let's hurry down the mountain and go back to eat something warm. It's my treat tonight." Everyone was still in a state of shock. The word treat didn't cause any waves and they numbly packed up their things. Until the girl's sweet voice entered everyone's ears. "The weather is so hot. The ducks at home must have gotten heatstroke. Let's go back and cook a duck. If they get heatstroke, won't we get heatstroke after eating it? Hey, what's there to be afraid of? Just eat it with Isatis indigotica. I'm calling you an expert. Even Master Fong and the others will praise this dish." The eyes of the people who were like walking corpses suddenly lit up. Even the pace of their journey had become much lighter. The professional rescue workers in charge of the aftermath swallowed their saliva. The ducks were so greedy. Cough, so miserable. Chapter 701. Although the staff members were carrying equipment, they walked at the front. On the other hand, Xianxia carried Shiryu with one hand and held Xianxia with the other. The three of them walked at the back. Shiryu's little face was pale. He was a child after all. At first he did not want Xianxia to carry him. But not long after, he was so tired that he fell asleep with his arms around his uncle's neck. His thick and long eyelashes cast a shadow, soft and obedient. The little boy was so cute that Xianxia could not help but take a few more glances at him. Xianxia's expression did not change. She turned Shiryu's little head to her other shoulder. "Xianxia, watch the road," the man reminded her in a low voice. Xianxia muttered softly, "Stingy." "Ahem, little uncle said that he will come over tonight. He will be so happy to see Shiryu." Little Uncle Xiangfeng was famous for liking children. Unfortunately, he had been single since birth and could only take care of other people's cute children. Even after such a thrilling experience, Xianxia's shirt was still neat and tidy. However, she took off her gold-rimmed glasses. Without the glasses blocking her peach blossom eyes, the visual impact was too strong. He said in a muffled voice, "Do you like Shiryu very much?" The sun was setting in the west and the evening wind was gentle. Xianxia's eyes curved into crescents. "Boyfriend, are you jealous? Or are you jealous of a child?" Shui lowered his long eyelashes and was silent for a few seconds. Then he said, "Yes." Xianxia could not help but laugh. She explained helplessly and amusedly, "Liking Shiryu is different from liking you. Also, I think Shiryu is very much like you. When I see him, I always think about what you were like when you were young." After all, the two of them were 7 years apart. Xianxia had missed his childhood. In her impression, Shui was already a calm and gentle big brother next door when she first met him. Therefore, it was difficult for her to imagine Shui when he was young. Shiryu's appearance made up for this regret. "Are you curious?" Shui's voice was clear and pleasant. "When I was young, I didn't seem to be cute or likable at all." Xianxia retorted, "Of course not. You must be the cutest kid in the world." Shui chuckled and changed the topic. "What's Yaya going to do? Roast duck? Braised duck?" Those unbearable and dark years were not worth mentioning. There was no need for her to know. When it came to food, Xianxia became spirited and started counting the menu with her small hands. "Roast duck is definitely a must. The duck rack can be fried, and then we can make braised duck neck, braised duck wings, and duck blood and vermicelli soup." The thin rays of sunlight fell on his back, elongating his shadow. She was going home. 2 hours later. The live stream of Two Under One Roof was opened, and the number of viewers who flooded and almost caused the server to explode. Other than the loyal fans, there were also many newcomers. "I'm here because of your reputation. Sister E, teach me. I want to learn swordsmanship. Can anyone answer me how good is Xianxi's combat skills? If you don't know, just ask. Isn't this a martial arts show? Why are you cooking now?" In the kitchen. Xianxia had her hair tied up in a bun, and her skin was as fair as snow. She was leisurely scooping out a large spoonful of braised duck meat from the pot. The camera zoomed in and gave her a close-up. The duck neck, duck wings, and duck collarbone had all been braised to a crisp, fragrant, and spicy state. It was as if the meat would be separated from the bones with just a little bit of force. Gulp. The new fans were in a daze. This. Why is my mouth not listening to me? Chapter 702. The impact of the braised food was strong enough. However, this was just the beginning. The new fans watched helplessly as Xianxia turned on the oven again. The roast duck was roasted to a caramel color, and the fat sizzled under the high temperature as it dripped onto the roasting pan. The new fans were going crazy. Immediately after, Xianxia fried the duck rack and cooked duck blood and vermicelli soup. It was a complete duck feast. The girl's movements were clean and neat, and her coordination skills were amazing. Multitasking was a basic skill, and she didn't seem flustered while cooking several dishes at the same time. In the live stream, "I'm so hungry, but I just ate." Isn't Xianxia a sword immortal? Aren't sword immortals supposed to be otherworldly? Why is she so proficient in cooking? Forget about being a sword immortal. What the hell is a sword immortal? Our sister E is just an ordinary super straight A student, god of cookery, folk music big shot, traditional Chinese medicine expert, talisman genius, tree climbing genius, magical girl. You have already mastered the essence of the common language. The countless new fans in front of their screens were dumbfounded. However, there were also countless new fans who couldn't help but click on the yellow and blue apps. All of a sudden, orders for braised duck neck, roast duck, and duck blood and vermicelli soup skyrocketed across the country. Not long after, the live stream was full of complaints. F***CK. A certain black duck store is sold out. I've already paid for my order, but the boss called me and told me to cancel it. He said that there's no duck supply today. Oh my god. Why is it so difficult to eat duck? It's so hard to get a duck. Li Jinyu reluctantly spent a huge sum of money and ordered takeout for the staff so that everyone could take turns eating. However, everyone was eating absent-mindedly. They were all obviously waiting for Xianxi's duck. When the girl called out, it was no exaggeration to say that everyone was so excited that it was as if they were celebrating the new year. The duck is here, the duck is here. Ah, it's the duck. It smells so good I can smell it. In the living room, Daoist Ren had gotten himself a cattail hassock from somewhere and was sitting cross-legged on the floor, meditating. He had the posture of a peerless expert. Daoist Ren's lips curled into a contemptuous smile when he heard the commotion. And nothing more than that. Even if it was a delicacy, it could only satisfy one's appetite. Someone passed by him and urged, "Master, please stop meditating. Otherwise the ducks will be gone soon." Daoist Ren opened his eyes. His gaze was like a torch. He flicked his horsetail whisk and said, "You young people are as kind as water. Water benefits all living things but does not compete. It deals with the evils of the masses and is close to the Tao. The man was dumbfounded. Huh? What are you trying to say? Taoist Ren, let nature take its course, follow your heart's desires and do nothing. Do you understand? As expected of the Taoist priest, I'm ashamed of my inferiority to your spiritual realm. The viewers in the live stream were stunned. Is the Taoist priest some kind of Taoist master? These words, if you think about it carefully, they're extremely thoughtful. Kindness like water, follow your heart's desires. Thank you, Taoist priest. I feel like I've comprehended something. In the next second, Xianxia poked her head out of the kitchen. Taoist priest, your pot is ready. Taoist Ren, okay. The large pot on Taoist Ren's back was now filled to the brim. At the bottom was the braised food, in the middle were several large pieces of duck rack and fried mushrooms, and at the top was a roast duck roll with shredded cucumber, shredded onion, and sweet sauce. Everyone? *CK. Chapter 703. So it's not that you don't want to fight for it, but you've already taken it all. What a ruthless person. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the crowd, Taoist Ren didn't seem to feel guilty at all. He calmly and leisurely stepped forward and steadily picked up the big pot. He said politely, Xianxia, you're too polite. You've put in too much. It's too heavy, I can't hold it anymore. Everyone was speechless. Look at how skillful you are, you can probably handle another pot. Xianxia was still smiling. She brought out a large bowl of duck blood and vermicelli soup and suggested to Taoist Ren, I think it would be good to change it to a double-flavored pot. It can also be filled with soup and porridge, so there's no need to worry about the flavors between the dishes. Taoist Ren's body trembled as if he had been enlightened. He stood on the spot and said, It can actually be done like that. Everyone was speechless. Taoist Ren, those who don't know better would think that you guys are discussing cultivation. Who would have thought that you guys are talking about carrying a pot? And Sister E, you're too indulgent. What double-flavored pot? If you want to carry a pot, you should at least carry 4 or 9 palaces. The dining table was filled with a sumptuous dinner. Shiryu's back was straight and his sitting posture was upright, like a gentleman's etiquette textbook. However, the little boy's eyes were already glued to the duck. It smells so good. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat. Xianxia placed a bowl of soup in front of him and pinched his little face. Shiryu, is there anything else you want to eat? Shiryu shook his head. Then try it first to see if it's to your liking. If you want to eat something else, let me know, okay? Shiryu nodded. Xiang Feng had just returned not long ago. He leaned back in his chair in enjoyment and shook his legs as he smelled the aroma. Little Yu eat more. Boys can only grow taller if they eat more. Only by climbing trees can they climb faster. The bullet screen of the live stream was filled with joy. Mr. Xiang, don't lead the children astray. No, you've misunderstood Mr. Xiang. Climbing trees is an escape skill. Mr. Xiang is doing this for the children's future. Climbing trees is not just an escape skill. Didn't you see that Sister E used it as a combat skill? I strongly suggest that our country should include tree climbing into the compulsory education system. Shi Sui glanced at him from the corner of her eyes. She saw through the child's thoughts and said lightly, You can eat now. The food under Shiryu's table shook excitedly because of her words. He picked up his chopsticks, picked up a small piece of meat from the braised duck neck and put it into his mouth. Boom. In an instant, the rich taste of sweet, spicy, fresh, fragrant, and numbing attacked the little Shota's tender taste buds. His black and white eyes were wide open, and he seemed to have forgotten to chew, not knowing what to do with it in his mouth. In this world, there was actually such delicious food? Shiryu's parents had a light palate and mainly ate vegetarian food. Shiryu rarely ate meat, let alone spicy food. Today's bite had opened the door to a whole new world for him. Xianxia and Xiang Feng, one on the left and one on the right, served the little boy food and soup. Taking care of others was probably an instinct of the Xiang family. Spoiling their young was even more of an instinct. Thus, in a trance, Shiryu experienced the feeling of happiness that was described in the cartoon. The uncle and nephew of the Xiang family even had a friendly discussion. Children are actually quite easy to take care of. Yeah, who said it's hard to take care of children? I've never met a child that's hard to take care of. The live stream audience. Please use this method on me. Chapter 704. The pop-up comments immediately turned into a large-scale family reunion. Daddy's sister. I'm the long-lost baby of your Xiang family. I'm the most difficult kid to take care of in the entire universe. Give me an address, I'll send myself to you right away. Don't you guys feel embarrassed calling me daddy all the time? Don't you know that people need face and tree bark? Grandpa, take care of me. Under the meticulous care of the Xiang uncle and nephew, for the first time in his life, Shiryu ate to his heart's content. In the end, the little boy ate until his belly was round and round. While burping, he couldn't help but drink a few mouthfuls of duck blood and vermicelli soup. Xiang Feng led him to take a shower, then turned around and asked Shui, I'm going to take this little brat for a swim after the shower. Taoist priest Shui, are you guys coming? Taoist priest Ren was extremely thick-skinned. Exercising after meals is really good for health. Before Shui could respond, the pop-up comments in the livestream room had already gone crazy. The manor was big enough to have both an outdoor and an indoor swimming pool. Shui glanced at Xianxia. The little girl was lowering her head and drinking the soup, spoonful by spoonful, obediently and softly. Hearing their conversation, Xianxia raised her head and met Shui's eyes. She blinked her doe eyes and asked, Uncle Taoist priest, do you want anything to drink? I'll bring you some water later. Whatever. Xiang Feng dragged Shiryu out. Although Taoist priest Ren was thick-skinned, his EQ was high, so he followed with a smile. Only Shui and Xianxia were left in the living room. The cameraman was not there, but the fixed camera in the living room was running, and subtle sounds could be heard. Thump, thump, an ambiguous atmosphere was brewing uncontrollably, and the surrounding temperature seemed to have risen by several degrees. Xianxia thought that the duck blood and vermicelli soup must be too salty. Otherwise, why would her throat be so dry? She unconsciously licked the corner of her lips. Aren't you going? Shui squinted at her with a faint smile. Sister E, do you want me to go? The man's voice was low and magnetic. After deliberately lowering it, there was a hint of hoarseness in it, which sounded very seductive. In the live stream, I screamed until the voice-activated lights on all 30 floors lit up for me. Sister E quickly agree. Don't you want to unlock the swimsuit version of Shuringdi? OMG, Shuringdi is so good. Woo, asking like this really makes me feel like I'm in love. I'm getting a concussion from being teased in front of the screen. Under the light, the aroma of the rice wafted in the air. It was a warm and beautiful scene. Xianxi's face was calm. Up to you. However, she quickly added, I'll get you a bath towel? It seemed like he was given a choice. In fact, he had already conveyed his intentions. Shui chuckles and receives the little girl's signal calmly. Okay, I'll go change first. After he left, Xianxia quietly pinched her burning ears. That scene happened to be captured by the camera. In front of the screen, the audience all smiled like an ant. Li Jianyu deliberately played a naughty trick and suddenly changed the screen. Hey, it's not good to do a live stream of swimming or something. The pop-up comments were all urging him to start a live stream. Swimming is a healthy sport, it should be popularized to more people. I have a friend who is terminally ill. Her last wish is to see Shuringdi's abs. Are we the ones who want to see it? Sister E wants to see it. Sister Yi's request must be fulfilled. Doghead. Live stream. If you dare to live stream, I'll call you daddy from now on. Chapter 705. The group of people who usually arrogantly called Director Li to smash the food were now crying and calling him daddy. This was probably, life was full of ups and downs. Don't bully the young for being poor, right? Xianxia prepared a few drinks and distributed them to the crew. The camera panned over, and the audience in front of the screen almost burst out laughing. In the courtyard, the crew took turns to eat the duck banquet, just like a large zombie feeding scene. Everyone was desperately stuffing food into their mouths. The lighting engineer and the sound collector were fighting online for a mouthful of the duck rack. The makeup artist and her assistant were tearing each other's hair out over the last bowl of duck blood vermicelli soup. And the cameraman who was eating and laughing maniacally, in the live stream. Duck, have a safe trip. Haha, another one has gone crazy. Sister E, you must have drugged the duck. With Xianxi's sour plum soup, strawberry orange juice, peach-flavored water, and soy milk, a new round of fighting broke out. Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She wanted to go to the kitchen to make more supper. Li Jianyu said, you can film the food too. I'll get old Zhang to switch to the camera for the live stream. In the next second, Ruanqing pushed Xianxia towards the swimming pool. Sister E, go give Shui and the others some water first. Many female audience members in front of the screen chuckled. Indeed, women knew women better. Director Li was just a younger brother. Smiley face. It was a hot summer day and the outdoor swimming pool was a good place to cool off. Xianxia arrived at the pool, put down the drink and towel and turned her small face. The cameraman was filming from her perspective, so the camera naturally turned to her. The first person that caught everyone's attention was Ren Daoist. He was in his 30s and had bronze-colored muscles. He had a wild and unrestrained beauty. He was holding a gourd in his hand and drinking wine casually. From time to time he would recite a few lines of poetry to the moon, giving off an otherworldly aura. Everyone, I'm crying, my figure isn't as good as Taoists. Then it was Xiang Feng and Shiyu. Although Xiang Feng usually looked like a simple-minded person, he was actually very sporty. Moreover, with the good genes of the Xiang family, he still had a few abdominal muscles. He carried the soft and obedient Shiyu as if he was carrying a little chick. He put the little yellow duck swimming hoop on Shiyu and said, "Come, Grandpa will teach you how to splash water." Shiyu tilted his head and imitated him for a while. Then he boldly scooped up a handful of water and splashed it at Xiang Feng. Xiang Feng chuckled. Not bad, not bad. You're a fast learner. But little Yu, Grandpa will now teach you what it means to be beaten up by society. Shiyu was speechless. The audience in the live stream room. Xiao Xiang is such a good man, why can't he be mute? The biggest weakness of the Xiang family's Feng Feng. Too bad he can talk. Help, I'm dying of laughter. Shiyu is still a baby. Why did he have to bully him like this? The child is dumbfounded. In the end, the camera lived up to everyone's expectations, and fell on Shui. The man was only wearing a pair of tight black swimming trunks. His hair was all combed back and his eyes were clean and clear. His abdominal muscles were well defined, and his Apollo's belt reached his waistline. He had broad shoulders, a narrow waist and long legs. He had a standard inverted triangle figure, just like a walking hormone. Sensing the sound of Xiang Yi's footsteps, he turned his face to the side and smiled in Xiang Yi's direction. Chapter 706. In Shui's movies and TV series, Xiang Yi had seen him smile in many different ways. Innocent, ruthless, desperate and ruthless, but none of them had made her feel as moved as she did now. The girl nodded at him calmly, but her heart was beating wildly. The livestream had gone crazy. Those apps. My nose is bleeding. Good guy, Shui doesn't treat us as outsiders, does he? Sisters, I believe I'm not the only one who is Doraemon. Hey, if you want to talk about this, I'm not sleepy anymore. The comments section flew by quickly, dazzling everyone. After bullying Shiyu for a while, Xiang Feng finally found his conscience and brought the little brat to Xiang Yi's side. Shiyu's face was sullen, as if he was sulking. Xiang Yi carefully dried his hair with a towel and asked, "Do you want something to drink?" Shiyu shook his head and sat down obediently without saying a word. Xiang Yi poked the little boy's cheek. "Are you angry? Do you want me to help you take revenge?" Shiyu's eyelashes were wet, and he looked a little like a newborn puppy. He sounded a little depressed. "I'm not angry, I just feel that I'll be leaving in a few days." Sister Xiang Yi's family was so blissful. But he would have to leave sooner or later. He told himself that he couldn't be a greedy child, but he was still greedy. He wanted to stay here forever, eat Sister Xiang Yi's delicious food, and listen to her warm fairy tales. Xiang Yi was stunned. She didn't expect Shiyu's answer to be like this. "Yu, if you want to come and play, you can come anytime," Xiang Yi said with a smile. "I read in a book that people who meet will meet again. So we'll definitely have many opportunities to meet again in the future." Shiyu's eyelashes fluttered, and he obediently wrapped the towel around himself. "Really? Can I?" Before he finished speaking, Xiang Feng's shout came from not far away. "Little Xiang Yi, help us be the referee. We're going to compete." Xiang Yi made a hand gesture to indicate okay. "Xiang Feng, I'll count to 321. Get ready, then we'll start. 3-2. Before he could finish counting, Xiang Feng had already jumped into the water and seized the initiative. Daoist Ren was confused. "I can't believe that there is someone more shameless than me in this world." He jumped into the water and chased after Xiang Feng with all his might. On the other hand, Shui was still on the shore. She stretched her wrists and ankles lazily, as if she did not care about the competition at all. Xiang Yi was anxious. She clenched her small fist and said, "Boyfriend, you can do it." Hearing the girl's voice, Shui glanced at her, raised her eyebrows and then jumped into the water. Her posture was standard like that of a professional athlete. Although Xiang Feng was the first to dive into the water, he ran out of strength halfway through. On the other hand, Ren Daozhang had better stamina and swam to the front. However, Shui was like a fish in water. In the blink of an eye, she had closed the distance between them. The man's figure was tall and slender, and he was nimble and agile in the water. His strength and beauty were undoubtedly revealed at this moment. 5 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter, whoosh. Taking advantage of Ren Daozhang's respiration, Shui directly overtook him, and then firmly held the first place. The audience watched with surging emotions. Sheringi's stamina is not bad. Sister Yi's small body, can she handle it in the future? Wake up! Sister Yi is the girl who nailed a several-meter-long mountain peak into a tree with a sword. Everyone should be worried about Xianxia, right? The live stream instantly fell into a mysterious silence. Chapter 707. That's true. Xianxia was someone who could lift pots that weighed more than 10 kilograms, slaughter little black pigs that weighed more than 100 kilograms, and beat up vicious fugitives when it came to beating people up. In comparison, Xianxia seemed a little delicate. Someone asked, Xianxia, can he do it? Instantly, everyone rushed to answer, I know this question. Xianxia can't. Don't ask. If you ask, our Shi Sui can't do it. Does it matter if he can or not? Can't Sister Yi do it? The new fans were at a loss. Did Xianxia have so many haters? However, when they clicked on the most vicious accounts, they realized that most of them were Shi Sui sisters. The new fans were speechless. What kind of operation was this? Had all the Shi Sui sisters' accounts been hacked? After a few rounds of back and forth, Shi Sui took first place without any suspense. Ren Daoist came in second, with a gap of more than 10 meters between them. Xiang Feng was in an even worse state as he choked on water and panted like a dying dog. Sure, you walked to the side of the pool. Xiang Feng was touched. You, are you here to comfort Grandpa? It's okay, Grandpa has a strong mentality. In the next second, Sure, you pulled out an oversized water gun. Xiang Feng was confused. Sure, you glanced at Xianxia guiltily. Sister Xianxia gave this to me. Xiang Feng was speechless. You listen to me. The only response he got was a merciless water gun attack. Sure, Yu's soft and tender voice rang out. Sister Xianxia said that those who mess around have to pay for what they've done. Xiang Feng was speechless. He was a domineering CEO, yet he was killed by a little brat. This was intolerable. He was going to order a super large water gun when he got back. Shi Sui came out of the pool with her hands against the wall, her forearms showing smooth and distinct lines. Xianxia immediately handed her a towel, but there were still some viewers who were watching the live stream who quickly took screenshots. Damn, these lines, these silhouettes. Sisters, there's a surprise after the zoom. Ah, should I say he's indeed Xianxia? I covered my best friend's mouth tightly to stop her from squawking. By the pool. Shi Sui was casually drying her hair when Xianxia asked, What do you want to drink? Any recommendations? Xianxia immediately got into character. Sir, this is the peach sparkling water I recommend for you. It has ice cubes and peppermint grass. Not only does it have the sweetness of the peach, but it also has the sourness of the bubbles. It also has a refreshing feeling. Shi Sui's eyes were gentle. Okay, that's it. Xianxia continued to act. Sir, can you give me your contact information? Was Little Rabbit trying to put on a show? Sorry, I already have a girlfriend. She's prettier than you, so please don't disturb me. Xianxia couldn't help but laugh. What else do you want to act? It's free of charge and I'm looking forward to it. Shi Sui's answer attracted a lot of praise from the audience. All straight men should learn. This is the standard answer. Copying homework. I'm going to trick my boyfriend later, haha. Untimely 99. Please continue to show off your affection day after day. Have you guys seen Weibo? Master Yen has issued a challenge to Sister Yi. Master Yen? Let's go watch the show now. Everyone searched for Master Yen, and the relevant Weibo immediately popped up. Master Yen, successor of the Yen school. Young man, you're plagiarizing my school's swordsmanship, tai chi and other techniques. This is intolerable. Let's have a showdown tomorrow. Do you dare? Xianxia v. Chapter 708. The netizens were confused. Who is this person? Immediately, a class representative came out to speak. Master Yen is a famous martial arts master and a contracted streamer of Fanyu streaming. He's good at Yan's swordsmanship, Yan's tai chi and other martial arts, self-proclaimed. He has opened several martial arts schools in China, all closed down. He has challenged and defeated more than a dozen domestic and foreign masters, all unknown. In conclusion, I suggest you don't treat him as a martial arts master. You'll be surprised if you treat him as a comedic streamer. Everyone was speechless. So he's just a clown? But soon, everyone realized that the internet was vast and full of strange things. Master Yen really had a lot of loyal fans and they were especially aggressive. Master Yan's swordsmanship and swordsmanship are all passed down from the Yen family. Xianxia is a thief. Stealing without asking is called stealing. Stealing without returning is called shameless. She's a beauty, but why is she so cheap? If she's not guilty, why doesn't she dare to accept Master Yan's tactics? Of course she's afraid of him. The netizens' reactions were, well, as long as you guys are happy. Although they couldn't bear to watch it, they really couldn't. Everyone thought it was just a farce, but they didn't expect Ren Daozhang to be a surfer too. After going ashore and scrolling through Weibo, he was filled with righteous indignation. Nonsense. What nonsense? Release his mother's dog. Cough, cough, cough. Li Jinyu, who had a strong desire to survive, coughed violently to remind him. Ren Daozhang changed his words. Release his mother's dog. I'll help him. After all, I think he has nothing better to do. It could be said to be very civilized. Xianxia took a look at Weibo and responded calmly, I'm not interested in fighting and killing. Is it because my cooking isn't good enough, or is sure you not cute enough? Good time should be spent playing the piano, reading books, learning medicine and gardening, not wasting it on such boring people. Xiang Feng said, Tisk, such people are just clowns. Don't bother. Ren Daozhang's phone vibrated. He refreshed it and found that Master Yen had updated his status. This time it was even more hostile and seemed to be a personal attack. Yen Men's descendant Master Yen V, since you're a girl, I won't argue with you. But if you have a man in your family, I'll fight with you. Or let your boyfriend do it. But, your son and your boyfriend don't have any balls, right? He looked like a pretty boy in the photo. Forgive me for being blunt, but I can take on 10 of you at once. After reading this, Daoist Ren felt that the atmosphere around him had changed. The source of the change was the uncle and nephew of the Xiang clan. Xiang Feng was the first to jump up. Where's my knife? Where's my saber? Ah, how dare you scold my family? I'm the only one who can scold my family, understand? Xiangyi's delicate little face was calm. She looked very calm and steady, but when she spoke, she was extremely valiant. The girl looked up at the camera with her clear doe eyes, her gaze firm and sharp. Just because I don't like fighting and killing doesn't mean that I'm afraid of fighting and killing. Reason should be talked to. Since reason doesn't work, then I'll try peaceful means before resorting to force. Let him decide the time and place. I'll accompany you to the end. The staff at the scene were all shocked by Xiangyi's imposing manner. Oh my god. Why does the gentle and gentle Sister E have such a domineering side to her? The viewers in the live stream were all dumbfounded. Oh my god, how is this Sister E? This is Brother E, Daddy E. Chapter 709. When Master Yen received the news, he was also a little dumbfounded. In reality, his martial arts club wasn't run well and he had lost a lot of money. Later on, he relied on being an internet celebrity to reap the benefits. Xiangyi actually agreed to the challenge? This was really beyond his expectations. However, Master Yen smiled contemptuously and didn't take Xiangyi seriously. She's just a young girl. Even if she started practicing martial arts in her mother's womb, she's definitely no match for me. Hashtag Xiangyi agrees to the challenge. Hashtag this term quickly became a hot search and caused a heated discussion among netizens. Some of the netizens were just watching it as a joke, while others were seriously evaluating the combat effectiveness of the two of them. Master Yen may always say some strange things to gain popularity, but his strength is really impressive. He has been practicing martial arts since he was a child. I don't think I need to remind you of the importance of the virgin martial arts, right? Our Sister E isn't bad either. I feel that Sister E is the type of person in Wuxia novels who is agile. She has quick reflexes and is good at using softness to overcome strength. She's no match for Master Yen. Xiangyi, 5 stars in agility, 3 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. Master Yen, 5 stars in agility, 5 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. From a probability point of view, I think Master Yen will win. Those who said that Sister E has 3 stars in strength, haven't you seen the video of her stabbing a mountain peak? The wooden sword pierced through the snake's body and into the tree. She definitely has inner strength. The two sides were arguing endlessly. This night was destined to be chaotic. The next day, Xiangyi had a very regular routine. She woke up early in the morning and exercised for a while before watering the flowers and plants. When she was almost done watering, Shui also came back from her morning run. After making eye contact, Xiangyi said, I just saw the news on Weibo. Master Yen has already booked the location for his new martial arts club. I'll go there myself later. Shui said, I'll go with you. No, I can handle it. In fact, the young girl was still a little worried about losing. She had never had the chance to test her combat effectiveness. Therefore, Xiangyi was not sure what level she was at in this world. In any case, she felt that the most powerful and cruel person in the world was her big brother. Compared to her brother, she would always be a rookie. Do you really think I'm a gigolo? Shui walked closer and flicked her forehead, which was as smooth as porcelain. Your boyfriend is not as weak as you think. He wasn't made of paper. He was just joking around with the little girl, but he felt that Xianxia really treated him as little Jiao. Xianxia said embarrassedly, I'm not questioning you. I just don't want to embarrass myself in front of you, Shui said with a faint smile. You lost. I'll avenge you. Xianxia asked straightforwardly, what if we both die? Then I'll take the beating with you? Xianxia imagined the scene of her and Shui supporting each other with bruised faces after being violently beaten up. Sigh, I feel like I'm going to be miserable. Sister E, Daddy sure, get ready, we're going to start the live stream. Li Jianghu and the staff adjusted the equipment, made a hand gesture and then turned on the live stream. There were hundreds of thousands of loyal fans waiting for the live stream. Seeing the screen lit up, everyone came out to cheer for Xianxia. However, there were also people who raised concerns. Master Yin has dozens of masters and disciples in his martial arts club. Our Sister E only has a few people. I feel like we've lost in terms of momentum. Chapter 7:10. Yes, even with Shui, Daoist Ren and Yu, there were only 4 of them. Achoo, Xiang Feng sneezed and walked out of the villa yelling, don't think of secretly leaving me behind. He had a habit of staying up late and making him wake up early was worse than not eating junk food for a month. But even so, Xiang Feng still stubbornly got out of bed. Moreover, he had changed into a t-shirt that people rushed over overnight. The front was printed with, Tutu is invincible, and the back was, I am your father. It was a combination of support and hatred, a vivid interpretation of what it meant to make the best use of everything. Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. So there was still President Xiang. She hadn't almost forgotten about him. She had completely forgotten about him. For some reason, President Xiang never had a sense of presence. I'll go with you. Daoist Ren followed closely behind, carrying a peachwood sword on his back and holding a white horsetail whisk in his hand. He smiled slightly and said, Xianxia, if you don't mind, I'm willing to hold the fort for you. In addition, he had also prepared a small surprise for Xianxia. I want to go too. A soft voice came from Yu. The little boy was very good at taking care of himself. He dressed and washed up on his own, and even carried a small school bag on his back. However, there were a few strands of hair on his head that were sticking up, making him look extremely adorable. Sensing everyone's intentions, Xianxia felt a warmth in her heart. Then let's go together. If she was embarrassed, so be it. She would just take it as a day trip. Xianxia went to change her clothes. Xiang Feng stayed where he was, urging Daoist Ren and Yu to change into the support t-shirts, but was naturally rejected by the two. Since the adults couldn't handle it, Xiang Feng chuckled and reached out his claws to Yu. The audience who saw this scene had mixed feelings. There are finally 5 people. Including the staff, there should be about 10 or so, right? But it feels like an amateur team challenging the national team. Xiang Feng is unreliable, but he really doesn't disappoint me. Let Yu go, he's still a child. Wow, Xiangyu's livestream is so good at riding on people's coattails. He even started a livestream for Master Yin. He's trying to steal the traffic. At this moment in the dojo, the staff of Sanyu Broadcasting had arrived at the scene last night and had installed cameras from many angles. The webpage and the app had pop-up recommendations to ensure that users would be able to see Master Yan's live broadcast once they clicked on it. There was no other reason other than the fact that Dianyu Livestream and Xingqian Livestream were competitors. This time, the battle between Xianxia and Master Yin was undoubtedly a great opportunity for them to fight for viewership. They had already designed a whole set of packaging and marketing plans for Master Yin, intending to push him to become a top internet celebrity. Then they would imitate 2 under 1 roof, and create a daily variety show in the martial arts center. Every episode they would invite guests to learn martial arts. After learning, they would cook some delicious food, and after cooking they would chat about life. Who knows? Maybe they'll go viral all over the internet and successfully get promoted to the stars. Then they'll export it overseas and take down 2 under 1 roof. Master Yin understood that black and red were also red. As soon as the live broadcast started, he began to say some controversial words. I advise women not to learn martial arts. It's better for them to stay at home and take care of their husbands and children. They should just do the laundry and cook. Otherwise you'll end up like Xianxia and be disfigured by me later. I suggest that she call her brothers and boyfriends over. Even if they attack me together, I have a way to deal with it. I'll definitely be unscathed. You guys don't have to worry about whether I can win or not. What you should worry about is whether Xianxia can afford to lose. I think she can't afford to lose. Chapter 7:11. Stirring up conflict was always the easiest way to stir up conflict. Nowadays, the simplest thing on the internet was gender. However, as soon as these comments came out, the netizens' emotions were stirred up. Some people cursed at Master Yen, while others clapped their hands and cheered, feeling that Master Yen had spoken their minds. The public opinion instantly turned into a debate about whether women should be good husbands and raise children. Everyone had their own opinions and was in a heated argument. The person in charge of Jianghu livestream was also at the scene and naturally turned a blind eye to Master Yan's behavior. Anyway, it was fine as long as there was traffic. What was so important about anything else? There were 2 tablets in front of him that were playing Two Under One Roof and Master Yan's livestream at the same time. Seeing that Xianxia and the others were about to arrive at the martial arts center, the person in charge gave the order with a confident smile on his face. Soon Xianxia would experience what it meant to be crushed. The black van stopped in front of the martial arts center. In order to promote the martial arts center, Master Yen made the address public and there was a huge crowd at the scene. Fortunately, Ruan Qing had the foresight to find an official and private security company to maintain order. Xianxia got out of the car. She was dressed in a white sportswear, looking clean and youthful. There was a heated discussion in the crowd. Wow, she's indeed a celebrity. She's so beautiful in person. Sister Yi's face is so small. I feel like my face is twice as big as hers. I feel good watching live streams. She's too skinny, she can't take a beating. After Shui got out of the car, the cheers at the scene reached a peak. In addition to the strong popularity, many of Shui's sisters also rushed to the scene. Shui. Hearing a few hysterical voices, Shui's gaze fell on the crowd and he gently gestured for them to keep quiet. As if by magic, the crowd really quieted down. Shui nodded slightly as a form of greeting. There was nothing wrong with her etiquette and demeanor. Everyone entered the martial arts center. Xianxia and the others were all dressed in sportswear and were dressed casually. Obviously, they didn't take the battle very seriously. However, Master Yen was different. He was wearing a black practice suit with golden embroidery on it. It looked quaint and textured. His disciples, on the other hand, were all dressed in white training clothes with black belts around their waists. They looked very ostentatious. The audience in the live stream could clearly feel the difference. U1S1, Master Yen and the others are really impressive. Sister E and the others are too shabby, they're completely relying on their looks. Haha, Shiryu has nothing left to live for. He's wearing that I am your father t-shirt until it's almost up to his ankles. Master Yen looked Xianxia up and down, his nostrils overflowing with a light sneer. You? Little girl, I advise you to go back and practice. Do you know how to do the horse stance? Can you do it for half an hour at a time? What you plagiarized was only my school of Yan swordsmanship and Tai Chi, but the true essence of my school of Yan is the basics. Xianxia interrupted him. If you want to fight, then fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Master Yen flew into a rage out of humiliation. Young man, you don't understand etiquette. You don't have any morals. The dozens of disciples behind him also pointed at Xianxia and mocked her. All of a sudden, Taoist Ren said loudly, before the official competition, let's welcome fellow Taoist Min from Baiyun Temple, fellow Taoist Su from Jade Spring Temple, fellow Taoist Yu from Yongla Palace. Master Yen was speechless. What? You're calling for external help? Chapter 7:12. He looked at the door with a dumbfounded expression. Several Taoist priests and Taoist nuns, who were either dressed in Taoist robes or training attire, entered. Those who were familiar with contemporary Taoist culture would know that they were all big shots. There was an uproar in the livestream. Wow, are these Taoist priests here to watch the battle? Impressive, they actually managed to invite so many big shots. I wonder who they're doing this for? Is it Sister E or Master Yen? Taoist Ren was still introducing them loudly. Fellow Taoist Zhang from Mount Song Temple. Fellow Taoist Wang from Yellow Dragon Temple. Master Yan's fans immediately rushed to comment in the livestream. These experts are obviously here for our Master Yen. Xianxia is just a woman, how could she possibly know people of this level? Master Yen has traveled the world and has a wide range of friends. It's normal for him to have some friends to help him in the battle. They said it confidently, but they were immediately slapped in the face. After listening to Taoist Ren's eloquent recitation of dozens of names, Taoist Ren leisurely said, "Thank you, fellow Taoists, for coming to support our little friend Xianxia." There was an uproar. These Taoist priests are all here for Xianxia? In other words, these big shots are all here to support Xianxia? Xianxia herself was quite confused. Her little head, which was tied into a bun, tilted as she curiously sized up the people who had come. These new Taoist priests looked at Xianxia with a very friendly gaze. Although it was their first time meeting her, they seemed to have seen Xianxia many times. Little friend Xianxia, do your best and don't have any regrets. Calm your mind and don't let the outside world disturb you. It doesn't matter if you lose. In life, let nature take its course and let fate take its course. A lot of chicken soup for the soul was sent to Xianxia. Xianxia. Thank you. The livestream viewers? Sister E is so popular. Oh my god, who said Sister E doesn't have any face? With dozens of Taoist priests, I just want to ask who? Who? Master Yin is so lowly I feel like his disciples are extras hired for 50 yuan a day. Sister E is a gathering of big shots. Grandmaster Yin steadied his heart and opened his mouth to distort the truth. Hey, you think that by using such methods to pressure me I will waver? You're underestimating the martial artists of the sect of the Yin sect. I'll never give in the dark. The expressions of the disciples behind him changed. As expected of Master. Xiang Feng rolled his eyes and ridiculed, can you cut down on your acting? Let me tell you, when it comes to acting we have professionals here. Shui Master Yin shivered when he met Shui's gaze. For some reason, the young man's gaze made his heart palpitate for no reason. His aura was too terrifying. Master Yin avoided Shui's gaze and cupped his hands at Xianxia. I'm Yin Dezhuang from the sect of the Yin sect. Please enlighten me. Xianxia. What a ritualistic gesture. She was about to say a few perfunctory words when her uncle Xiang Feng beat her to it. She's the successor of the god of cookery. The personal disciple of the medical sage. The giver of the muse. The girl of magic, the queen of martial arts, the guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm. It's her, Xianxia. Master Yin? Everyone? The livestream viewers? Xianxia was so embarrassed that she wanted to dig out a demon immortal castle with her toes. Chapter 7:13. After Xiang Feng finished bragging, he still felt like he hadn't had enough. My little niece is the cutest and most outstanding kid in the world. I can't praise her too much. Yu, who was at the side, nodded repeatedly. Yes, Grandpa is right. Sister Xianxia is just that good. The comment section of the livestream was filled with laughter. I'm laughing so hard that my head is about to explode. It's such a pity that Mr. Xiang isn't a talk show host. The magical girl, the martial arts queen, the guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm, ha! After the exchange of moves, Master Yin began his performance. He first got into a horse stance, then pushed forward with both hands, looking like he was trying to circulate his qi. Xianxia had developed a good habit of being cautious when she transmigrated, which was not to underestimate any opponent. Even if the other party looked weak. She observed Master Yin and did not act rashly. However, the other party's behavior confused her greatly. After circulating his qi, Master Yin circled around her again and again. From time to time he would make strange sounds like meh and haya. Xianxia was speechless. The girl frowned. She suspected that the other party was pretending to be a tactic. He was pretending to be crazy to hide his true strength, but in fact he was waiting for an opportunity to kill her in one blow. Master Yan's fans thought so too. You guys think Master Yan is on the first floor, but you don't know that he's on the 5th floor. He's predicting Xianxia's movements. With this kind of strength he's probably a peerless expert, a half-step master. Seeking changes in changes, Master Yan's skills have improved again. Through rapid movements he can deduce mysterious countermeasures. With his basic skills and flexible fighting style, Master Yin is in the bag. However, in the eyes of most people the battle between the two of them was so boring. Please Sister E move. Please Master Yin stop circling around. Some haters who didn't mind watching the show roared in the comment section. You guys can't kill him like this. Xiang Feng was extremely nervous and kept asking Shui, how is it? Do you think little Xianxia can beat this old man? Shui looked at him quietly. For some reason Xiang Feng saw a trace of pity in his eyes. Taoist Ren and the others had a rough idea of what was going on. This Grandmaster Yin was just a pretty face. He reckoned that he had Tongzi Gong, but it was obvious that he had abandoned it. His footsteps were light and his lower body was unstable. It was obvious that he had abandoned himself to the world of mortals and had abandoned practicing martial arts. Although it looked imposing, it was only enough to scare laymen. It's not too late for you to admit defeat now. Master Yin roared. Xianxia? Was he going to use his mouth to attack? Master Yen thought that he had confused Xianxia, so he threw a punch at Xianxia's face. Xianxia dodged sideways. Because of Master Yan's action, an argument broke out in the live stream. Some people felt that no matter what, they shouldn't hit someone in the face, not to mention that Xianxia was an artist. There were also some people who felt that a martial arts competition was a martial arts competition. Was there a need to differentiate between men and women, old and young? The two of them exchanged a few moves. Basically, it was Master Yen attacking and Xianxia defending. Master Yen was ecstatic. He won. He definitely won. This Xianxia was obviously a noob. Ah! With a sudden scream, Master Yen was kicked to the ground by Xianxia. He lay on the ground, unable to move. The audience was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Xianxia had KO'd Master Yen with one move. The little girl looked confused and muttered to herself, That's it? Chapter 7:14. No. This must be a tactic. There must be a backup plan. The girl calmed herself down and looked serious, ready to land the killing blow at any time. But 1 second passed, 10 seconds passed, half a minute passed in the blink of an eye. Master Yen was still lying on the ground like he was dead. The live stream viewers? What's going on? Is he dead? Sister Yi's flying kick was so cool. I want to learn that. What happened to being the successor of Yen School? That's it? That's it? Is she made of paper? The referee was invited by Master Yen. He originally wanted to be biased towards Master Yen, but in the face of everyone's burning gazes, he blushed. Ahem, I announced that Xianxia is the winner of this match. The verdict was final. Xianxia was even more confused as confusion appeared on her milky white face. I won? The girl's reaction was so adorable. Sister E is super cute, super dumb, and super fierce, hahaha. Master Yan's disciples were all dumbfounded. No way? Master lost just like that? The person in charge of Jianghu livestream fell into a chair. It's over. His face was pale as his lips quivered. Jianghu livestream had spent a lot of manpower, material, and financial resources to promote this match. He even promised his boss that through this livestream, Jianghu livestream would attract traffic and create a popular livestream variety show. But now, it had become a farce. Grandmaster Yen was simply like a jumping clown. And he was a big idiot who had been played by a clown. Xiang Feng shouted, Hey, the outcome has been decided. Old man, hurry up and get up, don't try to scam us. Master Yen still did not move. His disciples reacted and wailed loudly, Master. Everyone gathered around only to find that Master Yen had fainted. For a moment the scene was filled with people pinching each other and dialing 120. It was chaos. Finally, Master Yen slowly regained consciousness. With the help of his disciples, he barely managed to stand up. As soon as he opened his mouth, he scolded, Young man, you sneak attacked me when I wasn't paying attention. I was careless and didn't dodge. Martial artists of our generation should stand in the open. Humph, I advise you to take care of yourself. The 30,000 disciples of the Gate of Yen will not let you go. Xianxia? Grandpa, you're obviously trying to blackmail me. Just as the young lady was speechless, her uncle had already pulled her down to the ground. Xiang Feng spouted some nonsense with a straight face. Your skills are really impressive, old man. He had actually transformed his external strength into internal strength. It was truly terrifying. Damn it, he actually used his internal energy to sneak attack us. Master Yen? K, when did I have internal strength? You little bastard. Beep. Infuriate this old man to death. Beep. Ah. Countless silenced profanities flashed through Master Yan's mind like a bullet screen. Shiryu's eyes widened. Xiang Feng's actions were completely different from the gentlemanly education he had received. It had a strong impact on his worldview. However, for Sister Xianxia, the little Shota clenched his little fists and quickly lay down beside Xiang Feng and Xianxia. Looking at the three people lying down neatly, Master Yen and his disciples were dumbfounded. However, this scene poked at countless people's funny spots. The popularity of the live stream did not decrease but instead increased. The number of viewers was even higher than when Xianxia and Master Yen fought. Xiang Feng, forever a god in the Pengxi world. Shiryu is also lying down. This child has been led astray. Oh my god. It's okay to scam each other, ha. Chapter 7:15. Master Yen reacted and was so angry that his beard and hair stood on end. You young people don't talk about martial arts ethics. The next second, Xiang Feng screamed, Ah. Master Yen, you actually plotted against us again. Shiryu also shouted expressionlessly, Ah. It was very soulless. Xianxia, the little girl, had a hard time holding back her laughter. Her slender shoulders trembled. Master Yan was about to go crazy. What evidence do you have to prove that I hurt you? You're playing me? The next second, a series of low coughs could be heard. That sound seemed to be the result of trying hard to be surprised but unable to control it. There was a trace of vulnerability in the pitiful voice, a trace of strength in the vulnerability, and a trace of pain in the strength. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw Xianxia's slender fingertips on his lips. His peach blossom eyes were stained with water vapor, dark and wet. Sensing everyone's gaze, he raised his eyes and struggled to pull the corners of his mouth. He frowned uncomfortably and said, Master Yan, you're right. You didn't use your internal strength to sneak an attack on us. See, there's finally someone who understands. Did you hear what he said? Master Yan was anxious to seek confirmation from others. Little did he know, the netizens who thought he was a fool just now felt that Master Yan was something. Otherwise, why would Xianxia be like this? At a glance, it was obvious that he had suffered internal injuries, but he was still holding it in. He must have said that on purpose for Xianxia's sake. He was afraid that Xianxia would be hurt by Master Yan again. This kind of spirit of loving his girlfriend more than his face was too touching. Even Master Yan's disciples were shaken. Could it be that Master really had internal strength? So all this time Master had been holding back from us? Was he pretending? Many people instantly felt alienated from Master Yan. Even the onlooking staff couldn't help but point at him. It's a little too much. Master Yan is too much of a bully. He even said that Sister Yi sneaked an attack. I think he was the one who did it. Master Yan was about to vomit blood. He said that I don't have internal strength. I didn't sneak an attack on them. Unfortunately, when it came to acting, a certain best actor was truly a professional. Even if it was just a casual performance, the sense of immersion and empathy were extremely strong. Cough cough. Xianxia coughed a little harder. Her lips were pale and she looked like she would fall to the ground in the next second. He knelt down beside Xianxia on one knee and said, That's right, great Master Yan, didn't do anything. Cough cough cough. Sister Yi, are you okay? I'm sorry for not being able to protect you. Xianxia panicked. What's wrong with you? The little girl was so concerned that she was confused and thought that he was really feeling unwell. Just as she was about to get up to take his pulse, Xianxia raised his hand to caress her cheek. Of course, at an angle that was not easily noticed by others, the man's palm covered her lips. He winked at the girl. Xianxia! Exclamation point. Very good, her boyfriend has also learned bad things. At this time, Taoist Ren and the others also spoke up. Sai, it's just a martial arts competition. Don't go overboard, great Master Yan. Look at how badly you've hurt these young people. Don't go too far. Great Master Yan, you're attacking indiscriminately. No, I can't take it anymore. Great Master Yan's eyes were about to pop out. Ah! Damn it, what kind of lineup is this? Chapter 7:16. Master Yan was infuriated. The livestream viewers, on the other hand, were delighted. Haha, everyone is so evil. Master Yan's expression can be screenshotted and used as an emoji pack. I'm dying of laughter. Xianxia, you won the Best Actor award 3 times just to act as Master Yan today, right? It's over. The words "that's it," terrifying, and immoral, are all on repeat in my head. The person in charge of Jianghu livestream realized that the popularity of the livestream was high on the internet, but, damn it, why did everyone go to Xianxia livestream? They all went to the livestream of Two Under One Roof. In fact, it could be considered a coincidence for Xianxia livestream. The promotion of Jianghu livestream had been focused on the martial arts competition in the early stages, while Xianxia livestream promoted Xianxia's sister Yi as a one-day tour. As a result, the audience's expectations were completely different. The viewers of Jianghu livestream wanted to watch the martial arts competition. Once the competition ended and Master Yan lost, it would be meaningless. However, Xianxia livestream was different. Everyone had always watched it on that day, but they didn't expect it to be so silly. It was so funny. Life was already hard enough. What was the point of watching live streams and variety shows? Wasn't it just for fun? Two Under One Roof had achieved that. In fact, it had reached a perfect level. It was also worth mentioning that Xianxia livestream didn't expect Jianghu livestream to lead them in the opposite direction. Perhaps Xianxia's sister Yi really has a halo of luck? At the martial arts center, Xiang Feng was worried that he would really infuriate the old man, so he found a way out and pulled his niece and the others up to leave. Now that things had gotten to this point, Master Yen had completely lost, be it in terms of face or ability. However, he was really thick-skinned and changed the angle of his attack to Xianxia. Your swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from the Yen school. So, it can't be considered as my loss. At the end of the day, you used my family's inheritance to defeat me. Xianxia realized that the other party wasn't a real martial artist at all. He was just a funny clown. The girl's eyes were calm. How can you prove that my swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from your family's inheritance? Of course, Master Yen couldn't prove it. Martial arts had been passed down since ancient times. It could be said that many clans and sects had their own legacies. It was nothing more than you influencing me and I influencing you. Everyone fought together and improved. Of course, this did not exclude the existence of unique techniques. Master Yen thought he had found a way to refute Xianxia, so he asked, "Then how can you prove that you didn't plagiarize my work?" This move was too damaging and too ruthless. This was like comparing the perpetrator and the victim. They did not ask the perpetrator why he hurt others and why he did evil. Instead, he asked the victim, "Why do you think the perpetrator wanted to harm you? Why did it have to be you and not someone else?" Master Yen thought that Xianxia wouldn't be able to defend herself. Just as he was about to take advantage of the situation, he heard the girl say, "What a coincidence, I can really prove it." Master Yen was confused. Xiang Feng promptly handed over a few thick ancient books, but they were all photocopies. The original had been donated to the museum by the Xiang family. My swordsmanship and taiji were inherited from my grandfather. Tracing back hundreds of years, they are all recorded in the family tree. The netizens were shocked. Not only did she have evidence, but she also had solid evidence. Thor's hammer. Master Yen was confused. Chapter 717. Master Yen was in despair. No, he was in utter despair. He had been a scammer for many years and had never tasted defeat. But today not only did he lose to scammers, he was even beaten to the ground. Did he say that Xianxia is a noob? In the end he was KO'd. Did he say that Xianxia plagiarized? In the end she has her own heritage. That's infuriating. The netizens laughed even more merrily because of this dramatic turn of events. Master Yen, you have to pay for what you've done. Wow, the Xiang family has a heritage of hundreds of years. Sister-y is really rich and beautiful. Master Yen, what does it feel like to hit an iron plate? I'll show you guys now. Even if Master Yen wanted to quibble, all his words were meaningless in the face of real evidence. You plagiarized. Even if you didn't, it means that your ancestors plagiarized from our family. Anyway, the Yen school's heritage is the best. You're bullying an old man like me just because you're young. I was careless and fell into your trap. Master Yen repeated those words over and over again, but unfortunately no one wanted to listen to him anymore. Those who tried to curry favor with others were most afraid of losing the attention of others. The way great Master Yan's disciples looked at him had changed as well. They suddenly sobered up as if the clouds had cleared. Previously, it was as if Master Yen had drugged them. Whatever he said, they believed it to be true. In fact, after thinking about it carefully, they realized that his words couldn't withstand the scrutiny of logic at all. At this moment, Master Yen had yet to realize that today was an important turning point in his life from an internet celebrity to an internet hater. Retribution has finally come. Xianxia had no intention of arguing with Master Yen anymore. She had used her martial prowess to defend her dignity and also used solid evidence to prove her innocence. That was enough. Shall we go out to eat today? I know a good private restaurant where I can invite all of you to have a taste, Xianxia suggested. The Taoist masters were particularly interested in her talismans, so they naturally agreed. At the door, a clear voice of a young man suddenly sounded. "Miss Yang, please wait." This voice sounded a little familiar. Xianxia turned her head and saw a tall figure hurrying through the crowd. It was a young man of about 17 or 18 years old. He was wearing a clean navy blue training suit with a long sword on his back. He had delicate facial features and fair skin. His expression was gentle and shy. Xianxia recognized him. Xu Xinglan? Speaking of which, the two families could be considered old friends. The Xiang clan had practiced medicine for many generations, and had also passed down sword manuals, fist techniques, and the like, but most of them were used to strengthen the body. The Xu clan was different. Basically, the entire clan was a martial arts fanatic. In ancient times they had founded a sect and now they had opened a martial arts dojo. Xianxia and Xu Xinglan had met a few times and he didn't talk much. At most, he would say a few words about swordsmanship. "Hello, Miss Yang." Xu Xinglan cautiously nodded her head in greeting and cupped her fists towards Xianxia. "A long time no see. Sorry for offending you." Can I have a match with you? The young man's eyes were full of bright light. Shui squinted slightly and decided not to make a move for the time being. However, the audience in the livestream got excited. I can do this, brother. He stutters nervously when he speaks. I'm dead. You women have double standards. Luning stutters too. Why isn't anyone praising him? Such a cute brother. Sister E is going to beat him to tears. Hurry up. Chapter 7:18. Are you the devil? There was a huge increase in traffic to Xianxia's livestream, and the comments section of the livestream was extremely lively. However, the online traffic of Pianyu's livestream dropped again and again. No one wanted to see Master Yen quibble in a pathetic state. Since Pianyu had signed a contract with Master Yen, the cameras were all facing him. What the netizens wanted to see was the battle between Xianxia and Xu Xinglan. Hence, the heartless netizens began to download Xianxia's livestream on the spot, contributing another batch of users to Xianxia's livestream. Competition? Xianxia asked in bewilderment. You should look for a professional then. She was just an amateur with mediocre skills. It was no exaggeration to say that Xu Xinglan had been practicing swordsmanship since he was a child. If there were standards for swordsmanship like other sports, he would definitely be a national team player. Xu Xinglan was speechless. Miss Yang, do you have a serious misunderstanding about me? I've seen the video of you subduing Feng Shan. You're very impressive. Stabbing a wooden sword into a snake's body was something that anyone who practiced swordsmanship for years could do. However, piercing a tree trunk was not something that ordinary people could do. Xianxia said, well, I just used a little bit of force. If you're interested, I can teach you how to exert force. The young man was stunned. She actually wants to teach me such a powerful technique so casually? Xu Xinglan immediately felt ashamed. His family had taught him since he was a child that swordsmanship was not to be taught to outsiders, and all the opponents he encountered also abided by this principle. He finally understood how narrow-minded he and those people were. Miss Yang's mindset is extraordinary. Please, agree to my request. The young man's fingertips trembled slightly, and he said in an embarrassed but firm tone, please. He bowed to Xianxia. Everyone thought, wow, this young man is quite persistent. Xianxia's cherry lips moved, but she really couldn't bring herself to turn him down. She said helplessly, okay, shall we begin now? Xu Xinglan's eyes lit up and he nodded vigorously. Xianxia, my little friend, I'll lend you my sword. The enthusiastic Ren Daoist took out his peachwood sword and tossed it to Xianxia. The girl casually caught it. Xu Xinglan also took out his sword. Whenever he went out, he would use a wooden sword due to the ban on weapons. The people of the Xu family loved swords to the point that they treated their swords as their wives. Therefore, even if it was a wooden sword, the scabbard was incomparably exquisite and gorgeous. The young man slowly pulled out his sword. There were patterns engraved on the blade of the sword. They were all personally carved by him using a carving knife. Please enlighten me. You flatter me. Viewers in the live stream, oh my god, I feel like my brother is an expert. His aura is completely different from that of Master Yen. Brother's sword is so beautiful. You want to snatch your brother's sword away? Watch him get angry and cry. Little brother seems to be a sword cultivator from a Xianxia novel. And Sister E, she's so cool and beautiful when she's holding the sword. The two exchanged a few pleasantries, and without wasting any more words, they began to exchange blows. Bang. Crack. The wooden swords clashed, producing a sound that made people's hearts jump. The two silhouettes were light and agile. They moved so quickly that the camera could barely capture them. From time to time, afterimages would appear. Not far away, the person in charge of Jianghu broadcasting sneered, "What's so interesting about a martial arts competition? Everyone must have run away by now." The assistant at the side said shakily, I just looked at their data. Not only did they not run away, there are even more people." The person in charge was speechless. Are netizens' preferences so unpredictable these days? All of a sudden, with a loud clang, a wooden sword fell to the ground and broke. Chapter 7:19. For a moment, everyone's attention was drawn to the scene. Xianxia stared blankly at the broken sword on the ground and pursed her lips. The two of them were too fast. At this time, the camera happened to focus on Xianxia's back, creating a blind spot. The audience couldn't see clearly at all and were all asking questions. Whose sword is broken? The room was extremely quiet. A moment later, a small sob sounded in everyone's ears. This voice was. The camera panned and landed on Xu Xinglan. Everyone could see his expression clearly. The fair and delicate youth clenched his fists tightly. There was nothing in his hands at this time. The youth's beautiful eyes were red and misty, but he stubbornly held back his tears. He was really too pitiful. Everyone. Xu Xinglan's sword was broken? Xianxia looked at him and blamed herself. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I was too strong. I didn't expect you to. Her words came to an abrupt end. Obviously, the girl realized that what she was about to say was inappropriate. However, this had the opposite effect. Xu Xinglan's clear eyes became even redder. His thin shoulders couldn't help but tremble slightly. He bit his lip hard. He had lost. And he had lost so quickly. He had practiced swordsmanship for decades, but in front of Xianxia he couldn't even last 20 moves. For the first time, Xu Xinglan began to doubt himself. Was he really talented in swordsmanship? Was he really capable? Could he really continue? Xianxia blamed herself. She thought that she would lose, so she wanted to give it her all and leave no regrets. But she didn't expect. Her brother was a little weak? At first she was just testing him. Later she tried to counterattack. She didn't expect that she would accidentally, then he would win. Secondly, she accidentally broke her brother's sword. She heard that the Xu family treated their swords as their wives. This was practically the hatred of killing one's wife. If she had known, she would have gone easy on him. I was just lucky just now. Xianxia tried to salvage the situation. Why don't we do it again? This time she would definitely use 50%. No, 10% of her strength. She originally thought that Xu Xinglan would readily agree, but she didn't expect that the youth would act as if he had been greatly insulted. His voice was tinged with an aggrieved sob. There's no need. You win. Tears quickly gathered in his eyes. The young man, who had never cried no matter how hard he trained with the sword since he was young, suddenly shed a large tear. I lost. Xianxia panicked. Why was she crying? In the live stream, countless sisters were screaming, "Ah, Sister E, well done. He's really crying now. When I see a girl crying, I want to hand her a tissue. When I see my brother crying, my heart itches. I want him to cry even harder. Doghead, little brother, I can take this crying tone. I'm sure it'll sound great on the balcony, in the study, and in the kitchen." After Xu Xinglan admitted defeat, his emotions completely collapsed. His entire person was on the verge of collapse, as if he would fall to the ground at any moment. Xianxia hurriedly touched her pocket. Fortunately, she had brought a lot of sweets to coax Shiryu. Just as she was about to give them to Xu Xinglan, her small hand was suddenly wrapped by a pair of large hands. In the next second, his fair and well-defined fingers slowly took the sweets from her hand, and at the same time gently rubbed the girl's soft palm. It was slightly ticklish. Xianxia couldn't help but curl her small hand. Then she saw Shui walk up to Xu Xinglan, stuff a piece of candy into his hand, and comforted him emotionlessly. Be good, don't cry. Xianxia? It seemed like something was not quite right. Chapter 720. The girl wasn't the only one who found this scene strange. Shui's words instantly caused an uproar in the live streaming room. Huh? Shuri, there's something wrong with you. Black-bellied best actor X pitiful sword cultivator, DBQ I can do it again. Although I know this D***M man is jealous and doesn't want Sister E to give him candies, I still feel like I've bumped into him. Xu Xinglan looked away and said stubbornly, I don't need anyone's pity. If his voice had not been sobbing, perhaps this sentence would have been more convincing. Shui said indifferently, why should I pity you? Do you think Sister E is also very pitiful? Xu Xinglan subconsciously retorted, I didn't. In my eyes you are Sister Yi's opponent, an opponent worthy of respect. Victory and defeat are common occurrences. Why should we be bothered by temporary gains and losses? And in Xu Xinglan's eyes, the man in front of him was handsome, noble, cultured, and elegant. His temperament was as warm as the spring breeze in March. Every word he said seemed to touch the bottom of his heart. This brother was such a nice person. He subconsciously let down his guard and muttered, Miss Yang, you've made me understand today that I'm just a frog at the bottom of a well. She's a mountain that I can't climb over. What was even more terrifying than the attack was the dimensional reduction attack. You struggled with all your might, but the other party only took out a small piece of paper, and it was more crushing than Mount Tai. Shui smiled and gave him a heartwarming speech. You're still young and have a bright future. How do you know what you'll be like in the future? The naive young man who had been obsessed with swords since he was a child had no idea what Shui was thinking. This little brat is really annoying. I understand. Xu Xinglan lowered her head in shame and clenched her fists tightly. I won't give up. One day I'll challenge Miss Yang again. What brother meant was that as long as she worked hard, she would have a chance to surpass Miss Yang. It was true that listening to a wise man's words was better than studying for 10 years. The youth felt that today's harvest was too great. Not only did he realize that there was always someone better than him out there in terms of swordsmanship, he also felt enlightened in terms of thoughts. The way Xu Xinglan looked at Shi Sui gradually became bright and full of worship. "That, your sword?" Xianxia picked up the broken sword and said apologetically, "I'm sorry. How about I give you a wife?" Shi Sui was confused. "Everyone? ? Sister E, what kind of dangerous statement is this? Zai, mommy won't allow you to two-time. No. So, is Sister E planning to compensate her brother with herself or Shuringdi? Little brother, only children make choices, I want them all." The livestream room was bustling with activity, and the number of views was breaking records. Someone edited the video of the battle between Xianxia and Xu Xinglan and named it, Contemporary Swordsman Online Battle. It instantly became popular and received more than 100,000 likes. In addition, the interactive clips of Xianxia x Xu Xinglan and Shi Sui x Xu Xinglan also became popular. There were now 2 more evil cult couples. At the martial arts center, Xu Xinglan said embarrassedly, "It's alright, I'm not as skilled as her." "How can that do? You have to compensate her." Xu Xinglan pursed her lips and said, "If Miss Yang insists on compensating, then..." Someone shouted, "Compensate me with a husband." Everyone burst into laughter. Xu Xinglan's face turned red and she waved her hands repeatedly. No. Chapter 721. Someone continued to kick up a fuss. "Sister E, compensate him with Shi Sui." With a sullen face, Xianxia grabbed Shi Sui's hand and said fiercely, "No, he's mine." She looked especially adorable when she was being serious, and she instantly won the hearts of her fans. "Kawaii. My daughter is so kawaii. Hey, she's declaring her sovereignty. She's the domineering Xianxia today. Is it popular to lure dogs in and kill them now? If I'm guilty, the law will punish me instead of letting me watch them display their affection for each other." The tips of Xu Xinglan's ears turned red. "I don't want anything else, I just want a promise from Miss Yang." Xianxia was stunned. Xu Xinglan said, "I want Miss Yang to promise me that you'll compete with me again in the future." His eyes were full of anticipation as he bowed deeply to Xianxia. "Please." Xianxia was speechless. This child has to change his habit of bowing at the drop of a hat. "Sure, you can compete with me as many times as you want." Xianxia said good-naturedly, "As long as I'm free, I'll keep you company." Xu Xinglan was extremely excited, as if he had won 5 million yuan in the lottery. At this moment, a discordant voice sounded. "How much longer are you guys planning to stay here?" The displeased voice came from Master Yan. He felt that Xianxia and Xu Xinglan had stolen all the limelight from him. Xu Xinglan was shy as he bowed and said, "Sorry to disturb you." Xianxia called her uncle and the others to leave. "They're finally gone." Master Yan grumbled. "They've seriously affected the progress of our class." "Okay, everyone pack up, I'm going to start today's lesson." The person in charge of the live stream almost vomited blood on the spot. When Xianxia and the others were around, there was still some traffic in the live stream. Now that they had left, the traffic plummeted. In less than 2 minutes, the traffic was already so bad that it was impossible to watch. Is this Master Yan a fool? Who wants to watch him in class? Everyone wanted to watch Xianxia and Shi Sui. However, it was too late. After Xianxia and Shi Sui left, the number of viewers in the live streaming room decreased. Most of Great Master Yan's disciples didn't cooperate with him like they usually did. Instead, they looked at each other and exchanged glances. After a while, people in the crowd spoke up one after another. "Well, I just remembered that I still have to pick up the kids. I'll leave first. By the way, I heard that it's going to rain today. I have to hurry back and pack my blanket. My stomach doesn't feel well. Excuse me, I need to go to the bathroom." In the blink of an eye, at least half of the crowd had left. Master Yan's expression changed greatly. He forced himself to remain calm and pretended to be profound as he said, "Some people left not because I didn't want them to stay, but because they pursued the wrong path. I believe that those who stayed behind are all sincere in their desire to learn our Yen school's legacy." "Can I get a refund if I don't want to learn?" a sloppy disciple asked. Master Yan glared at him. "Are you betraying your sect? I don't want to learn anymore. What's wrong with asking for my tuition fees back?" The disciple retorted. Someone immediately responded, Yes, refund. Hurry up and refund or we'll call the Consumer Association. You can teach whoever you want. Anyway, I don't want to learn from you. Master Yan's vision darkened and he almost fainted on the spot. He was filled with guilt and regret. If he could do it all over again, he definitely wouldn't find trouble with Xianxia. At the same time, outside the martial arts center. Chapter 722. Considering the large number of people, Xiang Feng arranged for a bus. On the bus, all the Taoist masters got on the bus. The onlookers were amazed and took out their cell phones to take photos. Sister Yi is really impressive. She actually managed to invite so many Taoist masters to help her. Little did they know that it wasn't Xianxia who invited them at all. It was the Taoist masters who took the initiative to come. At a private restaurant. The manager of this restaurant and Xiang Feng were childhood friends. Today he specially cleared the place to receive Xiang Feng and the others. The weather was good, so everyone sat in the courtyard. They lit up the lanterns and the light was hazy. There was a gentle breeze and the fragrance of the lotus flowers wafted in the air. The audience found it enjoyable to watch the live broadcast, as if the rhythm of life had slowed down. Xianxia and the Taoist masters discussed the talismans. Due to the thin spiritual energy, the talismans did not have much of a reaction. They existed more as a cultural symbol. In addition to discussions, they also drew on the spot. Xiang Feng looked at his little niece who was like the moon surrounded by stars and happily discussed with Shui beside him. Look at little Xianxia. Doesn't she look like she was forced to perform in front of the elders during the new year and was forced to open for business? Thinking of the past, Shui smiled. He remembered that one year, when the young lady came to pay New Year's greetings, she wore 2 ponytails and sang softly to the elders. She was so adorable. The crowd burst into exclamations from time to time. Amazing. It's amazing. Xianxia can actually draw so many talismans in one go. She's really amazing. Sigh. I suddenly realized that I'm not only lacking a hand but also a brain. On the other side, Shu Yu and Xu Xinglan sat side by side eating milk candy. Xu Xinglan looked at Xianxia from afar with admiration in her eyes. She sighed softly and said, Miss Yang is so amazing. Shu Yu said coldly, she has a boyfriend. Xu Xinglan said, I don't want her to be my girlfriend. Shu Yu chewed on the candy and said expressionlessly, my uncle has a girlfriend too. Xu Xinglan was speechless. Little kid, are you misunderstanding something? The sword is his wife. I have many swords. Taking advantage of the fact that there was no one around, Xu Xinglan straightened his chest and showed Shu Yu the photo of the sword. He showed off a little childishly, this is my first wife, second wife and third wife, Shu Yu said. Brother, you're such a playboy. Xu Xinglan corrected him. This isn't called being a playboy. Having a lot of girlfriends is called being a playboy. Shu Yu said, then you can have a girlfriend. Xu Xinglan said seriously, no, women will affect the speed at which I draw my sword. The conversation between the adult and the child was completely recorded by the camera. In the live stream, everyone was amused by Xu Xinglan's words. Ha ha, so his wife is a sword. Let the 2 little brothers keep chatting. I won't be annoyed even if I watch it for a day. What the F***ck? Women can affect the speed at which I draw my sword? Brother, you're destined to be alone for the rest of your life. At this moment, the store manager came over to apologize to Xiang Feng. I'm sorry, there are 2 chefs on break today. Plus, we have a lot of customers here, so the kitchen can't handle it all. It might take a little longer to serve the dishes. Are you short of a chef? A voice as gentle as the sound of nature rang out. The store manager replied without hesitation, of course we're short of one. But it's not easy to find one. I happen to know how to cook a little. The store manager turned his head and made eye contact with Xianxia. He didn't watch the live stream and was extremely surprised at this moment. Miss Yang, you actually know how to cook? Chapter 723. He had heard of the Xiang family's tradition of doting on their daughters. Shouldn't the little girl who's the apple of their eye be pampered and live a pampered life? Xianxia smiled and said, it's just a hobby of mine, so I spent some time studying it. The pop-up comments in the live stream were neat and tidy. It's nothing, Sister E only knows how to cook a little. The store manager said cautiously, then, I'll have to trouble you, Miss Yang? He looked at Xiang Feng, afraid that his friend would disagree. To his surprise, Xiang Feng's eyes lit up and he exclaimed, Little Xianxia, I want to eat fried chicken. The store manager was speechless. Could it be that the rumors are false? Okay. The young lady was very polite and courteous. After greeting Taoist Ren and the others, she went to the kitchen. In the kitchen, the head chef was giving instructions to the chefs under him. Due to the lack of manpower, the kitchen was a little chaotic at this moment. When he saw Xianxia coming in and heard that she was going to cook, the head chef immediately flew into a rage. However, he couldn't flare up because of the live stream. "Miss Yang, right? I'm sorry, but there's a lot of smoke in our kitchen. I don't want to dirty your clothes. Please wait outside for a moment, the cold dishes will be served soon." Xianxia said warmly, "I see that you guys are too busy. Is there anything I can help you with? I can even cut and stir-fry vegetables." The head chef was full of disdain. This female celebrity probably only knows how to cook tomato scrambled eggs or something. She just has to show off on the live stream. "My kitchen is not for people like her to gain fame." When he spoke again, the head chef inevitably said in a sarcastic tone, "We don't have enough manpower. At most, the dishes will be served a little slower, but if Miss Yang scalds your hands and scalds your face, we can't afford to take responsibility." Xianxia blinked. She wasn't someone who didn't know the ways of the world. On the contrary, she had seen countless people of all shapes and sizes in the world she transmigrated to. She just couldn't be bothered to socialize. Sensing the other party's resistance, Xianxia did not intend to persuade him. Her deer-like eyes looked around and landed on a deserted area. "Can I borrow the kitchen utensils over there?" She was referring to the workstations of the two chefs who were on leave. They had stoves, pots, and ovens. The head chef said impatiently, "Since Miss Yang insists, I have nothing else to say. You can use any ingredients and condiments you want. I just hope that Miss Yang will pay attention to your safety and avoid any accidents in the kitchen." Xianxia nodded calmly and walked to the workbench to familiarize herself with the kitchen utensils. The head chef looked over and saw her tossing the pot and shaking the ladle. He complained softly, "You're just putting on an act. Not to mention the others, just those few pots alone, the lightest one was 3 to 6 caddies, while the biggest one was over 10 caddies. This was just the quality of an empty wok. After adding the ingredients, the weight would increase. Moreover, there was also a method called tossing the pot, which was usually done with one hand. A normal person's dominant hand was their left hand. An ordinary person's wrist would feel sore just by holding it, not to mention tossing it frequently. She was such a delicate and weak little girl. With her slender arms, wouldn't her arms break if she were to toss the pot? The head chef lowered his head and busied himself with the dishes. When he finally finished preparing the cold dishes, he instructed the kitchen staff to serve the dishes and inadvertently glanced at Xianxia. In an instant, he was dumbfounded. Who could tell him why that young lady tossed the ladle so easily and casually? Moreover, she used the biggest and heaviest pot. Chapter 724. The head chef wasn't the only one who was dumbfounded. The others were also dumbfounded. "Oh my God, this girl is too strong. How did she manage to cook so many dishes in the blink of an eye? Why does it feel like she's more efficient than the few of us combined?" The head chef's expression changed and he became gloomy. He was originally the sous chef of a 5-star hotel, but he was poached by the manager of this private restaurant. The benefits he received were very good. Over time he couldn't help but become a little lazy. For example, his cooking speed had dropped a lot. Fortunately, there weren't many people in the private restaurant, so it wasn't obvious. Now that he had Xianxia in comparison, he seemed too slow. The audience watching the live stream also noticed it. "Damn. Is Sister E an octopus? She's so fast. She's really good at planning. Damn it, if I had such a brain would I still fail my math exam? Do you guys feel that the other chefs are cooking so slowly? Xianxia has already cooked a few dishes but they're still making cold dishes. I didn't notice it before you mentioned it, but now that you mention it, it's really... they're not as fast as Xianxia." In order to regain his position in front of everyone, the head chef said with a cold expression, "You two choppers, hurry up. Don't dilly-dally." Although he was urging, he didn't forget to remind Xianxia, "Don't blindly pursue speed. After all, we're a high-end private restaurant, and the dishes must be exquisite. If you cook in a big pot, the customers will be very disappointed." The head chef was still very confident in his seasoning and plate presentation skills. After all, he had been doing this for decades and he had some real skills. However, when 2 cooks came over to serve the dishes, they each brought one for him and one for Xianxia. Coincidentally, both of them were making a salad with assorted vegetables, and the dishes they chose were similar. They both included tofu skin, carrots, potatoes, cucumbers, enoki mushrooms, lotus roots, and other ingredients. The head chef's plate presentation was arranged in a circle, and each dish took up a spot. He even used carrots as decorations. Although it was exquisite, but the aesthetic was slightly rustic. Xianxia arranged the dishes in a Tai Chi pattern. The ingredients on the bottom layer were shredded, while the ingredients on the top layer were diced. Peanuts and sesame seeds were sprinkled on top. It was simple, but it was ingenious. For some reason, it looked better than the head chef's dish presentation. This little girl is quite pretty. Yeah, the colors match so well. It's so harmonious. Everyone admired the strong, and the chefs were no exception. They couldn't help but praise Xianxia. This compliment angered the head chef. What do you know? Do you work with your hands or your mouth? Hurry up and cook. Everyone immediately fell silent. However, by the time the chef had finished his third dish, Xianxia had already finished her sixth dish. She also made some soy milk boxes and pudding and put them in the fridge for dessert. Xianxia calculated that the dishes were enough for a while, so she poured a pot of oil and started to make fried chicken. When she first started making the cold dishes, she had already marinated the chicken. Flour, starch, egg, honey, and other ingredients were mixed well. She threw the tender and juicy chicken into it, rolled it around, and soaked it in the oil. Sizzle. The unique sound of explosives was transmitted to everyone's electronic devices through the top-notch sound recording equipment. Chapter 725. The audience was going crazy. I'm swallowing my saliva like crazy. She's releasing poison in the middle of the night. I was planning to go on a diet, but I've already opened some perverted apps. I'm different from you guys. In addition to the fried chicken, I've also ordered barbecued prawn shell and milk tea. At this moment, the first batch of fried chicken was almost done. Xianxia scooped out the fried chicken with a colander. The skin was crispy and light yellow, and the camera zoomed in on it. The grease could even be seen dripping off bit by bit. Everyone. How is this a lifestyle variety show? This is a food variety show. After drying the fried chicken in oil, Xianxia fried it a second time. This time, the color of the fried chicken turned into an appetizing golden yellow, and the skin became scaly. It looked even more delicious than the ones bought from fast food restaurants. Xianxia used a large wok to fry a lot of fried chicken in one go, and she got someone to bring it out. In the courtyard. Perhaps by coincidence, Xu Xinglan and Ren Daozhang sat together. The two of them talked about swordsmanship for a while, and it seemed that they were kindred spirits. Xu Xinglan held his little wife, the spare sword in addition to the broken one, and said seriously, "In this world, nothing is more important than my sword." The audience in the live stream automatically interpreted his words as, "In this world, nothing is more important than my wife." Then, the fried chicken was served. The domineering aroma instantly silenced the noisy courtyard. Even the Taoist masters, who were usually indifferent to good food, suddenly felt a little hungry at this time. Xiang Feng laughed wildly. "Our little bunny is so obedient." He picked up a large drumstick and handed it to Shiryu as per the usual practice of the Xiang family. The little boy took it, feeling a little flattered as he stared at it in a daze for a long time. He took a whiff almost greedily. "It smells so good." Xiang Feng put the other drumstick into the rice bowl in front of him. A glutton's soul, a glutton needs a basin to eat. A life without a bowl of rice is a life without a soul. Ren Daozhang chuckled and took out his own wok. The two of them looked into each other's eyes, and suddenly there was a feeling of a hero cherishing another hero. Hee, my brother is steady. He's comparable to my third son. So there are people in this world who have the same thoughts as me. He was not alone in this Tao. As for Xu Xinglan, the hand that was holding the sword couldn't help but tremble slightly. Damn it. Why is Miss Yang's fried chicken so tempting people to commit crimes? In particular, Xiang Feng, who was sitting at the same table, had already begun to eat heartily. A certain domineering CEO had no care for his image. His mouth was wide open, and with one bite half a drumstick was gone. Crack. Under the crispy skin was the tender and juicy chicken meat. The combination of the two created a simple little happiness. Xianxia also used the condiments in the kitchen to prepare ketchup, honey mustard, sweet and spicy sauce, sweet and sour sauce, garlic sauce, and several other sauces to satisfy everyone's needs to the greatest extent. The piping hot fried chicken dipped in sauce really tasted amazing. Even if it was junk food, he would accept it. How could delicious junk food be called junk food? It was called happiness. Xu Xinglan desperately used all his self-control to resist the temptation of the fried chicken. However, the iced Coke that Xianxia brought over was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The young man couldn't hold it in anymore. He subconsciously let go of his sword and grabbed a chicken wing. Ow. Chapter 726. The young man's concubine fell to the ground. The people at the same table looked at him in surprise. This kid, didn't he just say that swords are the most important thing? Xu Xinglan's five senses were all focused on the fried chicken. The young man's eyes went from shock to daze. The crispy skin, tender meat, and hot fried chicken paired with cold cola were so delicious that it made him want to swallow his tongue. There was actually something in this world that was more blissful than collecting wives. Xu Xinglan felt as if a mysterious door had opened in front of him. The netizens also saw the process of him smelling good and smiled. Brother has vividly shown us what it means to go from resistance to surrender. Xu Xinglan, I didn't want to eat and drink, she gave me too much. Are you sword cultivators all so casual about throwing your wife away just like that? This is simply abandoning his wife and child. Sigh, is this the distortion of human nature or the decay of morals? The lights were gentle and the courtyard was filled with a fragrant aroma. The bluestone tiles in the courtyard were as clear as water. Occasionally the wind would blow and blow a few petals off the trees. Even if they fell into the vegetables, it didn't dampen the mood. Xianxia sipped her cola and secretly used a pair of tongs to pick up a piece of ice, but her wrist was grabbed by a pair of warm hands. Your period is coming soon, isn't it? Shi Sui leaned against the back of the chair and bent his long legs lazily. Didn't Sister Yi say that ice is cold, so we should eat less? Xianxia was a little guilty, but she was still stubborn. Chili is hot, I'll eat more spicy food later to neutralize it. Shi Sui raised his eyebrows. Oh. He didn't say much and simply stared at Xianxia with a faint smile. His entire silhouette seemed gentle under the light, but it couldn't hide his sharp and fierce aura. The ice melted slightly and a few drops of water dripped into the small bucket. Sigh, this is the trouble of being in love, right? Xianxia thought to herself. She felt that there was one more person controlling her now. The little girl reluctantly let go of his hand. I'll drink room temperature, she whispered, her voice a little muffled. Shi Sui rubbed her little head and turned off their microphones. She leaned over to the girl's ear and whispered a few words. His hot breath lingered on the girl's milky white neck, and his thin lips were almost touching the girl's reddened collarbone. This scene was enough to make the untimely couple fans go crazy. I announced that they have consummated their marriage. It's born. It's a big fat boy. Bullsh *T I was there. She's clearly a cute little girl. Help, the fans have turned into idiots and are showing signs of spreading from person to person. No one knew what Shi Sui said, but Xianxia blushed from her collarbone to the tips of her ears. Once the distance between them was increased, the young girl's soft white fingertips lightly pinched his ears twice. It was so hot. Shi Sui's words kept repeating in her mind. Xianxia felt sweet, but she was so shy. The uncle next door suddenly said mysteriously, does everyone know that if you eat fried food often your face will get pimples? Perhaps because he was too serious, everyone at the table subconsciously became serious as well. Pimples? Shut up. Blisters from excessive heat? Even the viewers in the live stream curiously joined in on the speculation. All of their curiosity was piqued. Xiang Feng let out a cheerful squawk. Of course it's a smile, haha. Everyone was speechless. Seems like there's nothing wrong with it? Chapter 727. Today's live broadcast ended amidst laughter and cheers. The Taoist masters had their wishes fulfilled. After dinner they bid farewell to Xianxia one after another. Before leaving, Taoist Master Ren specially added Xianxia into their group chat. Dozens of added messages appeared on Xianxia's phone. She accepted them one by one. Her phone buzzed for a long time before it returned to silence. She rubbed her sore eyes. After some treatment, her myopia had recovered, but it would still hurt after looking at electronic products for a long time. Don't rub it. Shi Sui held her hand and pulled her into his arms. He gently massaged the little girl's temples with his fingers. Xianxia closed her eyes and couldn't help but moan in pleasure. A certain best actor paused for a moment before returning to his normal pace. At the side, Xu Xinglan was still eating fried chicken. This child had eaten so much that her stomach was bloated. Sure, you looked at Shi Sui and Xianxia curiously. The way they interacted was a little strange to him. His parents didn't have a good relationship. You children shouldn't always watch others show off their affection. Xiang Feng patted Shi Yu's shoulder and said in an experienced tone, otherwise you'll only be a single dog when you grow up. Shi Yu asked innocently, Grandpa, why don't you find a grandma? Xiang Feng sighed. You don't understand. I clearly want to find one, but every time I see a girl, I don't want to socialize. Wanting someone to accompany him, but also wanting to be alone. This was the trouble of modern adults. Shi Yu said, Grandpa, have you ever thought that your thinking is too narrow? Why do you have to have requirements about gender? Xiang Feng, ? A child's words carry no harm. It must be a child's words, Sure, you continued. It's also possible that someone else has a request, but Grandpa, you didn't fulfill that request. Xu Xinglan chewed on a chicken wing and puffed up her cheeks. Little brother, what you said makes a lot of sense. Xiang Feng? Were all the little brat's words so hurtful these days? Every blade was stabbing into his heart. Do you believe that I'll spank you? Xiang Feng rolled up his sleeves angrily, but when he saw the muscles on Xu Xinglan's forearm, even though he was skinny, he looked strong. Xiang Feng silently pulled his sleeve back up. Don't misunderstand, he wasn't a coward. Follow your heart and let nature take its course, understand? The production team held a meeting, and after the meeting, Li Jinyu came to the courtyard with a small notebook and briefly told Shui and Xiangyi about the guests that weekend. The two big names that we've invited this time were something that we've fought hard to get. One of them is a legendary singer, and the other is an international dubber. However, there are rumors that the two of them are not on good terms. This week's live stream might not be easy to do. I'll have to trouble Sister E and Daddy Sure. The two of them expressed their understanding. After talking about some topics related to the program, Li Jinyu looked at Xiang Feng. After all, Xiang Feng was the big boss of Xingchen Livestream and the biggest sponsor of Two Under One Roof. Li Jinyu felt the need to suck up to his boss. President Xiang, do you have any objections? Xiang Feng wiped his mouth and revealed the standard devilish smile of a domineering CEO. Do you have enough money to spend? Li Jinyu, it's enough. With Sister E around, we've saved a lot of money. Save what money? Spend it. Don't come looking for me if you can't spend it all. Li Jinyu? Using money to insult me? So what? In the next second, his loud and cheerful voice sounded in the courtyard. Okay, thank you, Daddy. Chapter 728. Everyone couldn't help but laugh at Li Jinyu's obsequious behavior. The crew of Two Under One Roof was basically made up of young people, and the atmosphere had always been good. They also had a strong and unshakable core cohesion. Sister Yi's cooking. Other variety shows had a lot of staff turnover, but the crew of Two Under One Roof almost never changed jobs. No one could poach them. Other variety shows are also speechless. We've already offered such a high price. You guys should at least be tempted. Is Xiangyi's cooking really that good? Everyone got into a car and rushed to Little Rabbit Farm. The moment Xiangyi got into the car, a familiar notification sounded in her mind. Ding! The girl raised her eyebrows and communicated with the system in her sea of consciousness. The little system had probably been holding back for too many days and finally couldn't help but issue a mission to Xiangyi. Host, please conquer the male lead as soon as possible. Not only do you have to win his heart, but you also have to get his body. Due to the restrictions of the rules, after Xiangyi turned on the shielding mode, the system couldn't speak unless it issued a mission. Although, that person had told it not to communicate too much with Xiangyi, it was really bored. Xiangyi was speechless. She increasingly suspected that the system wasn't very serious. In fact, she already had a guess in her mind, and Xiangyi felt that it was infinitely close to the truth. She lowered her long black eyelashes and asked, if I can't complete it, will I be obliterated like Ling Yi? Her soul, which was also her consciousness, would completely disappear. That was the cruelest punishment. The little system felt a little guilty. Did she find out something? However, the words it said were very official. Host, please take the conquering mission seriously and don't slack off. Xiangyi leaned against the back of the back seat and said slowly, what should I do? I don't think I can do it. The little system subconsciously said, how can that be? According to the test, the male lead's affection for you has already reached 100%. Not to mention getting his body, he won't hesitate even if you ask him to cut his heart out. Sigh, you don't understand? The girl's tone was downcast. I just can't get over the hurdle in my heart. Maybe his misogyny has infected me. What? Does the host have misogyny? The little system couldn't understand how Xiangyi got such a disease, but it was just a data flow after all, even though it had artificial intelligence. However, he was still not a real person. It believed Xiangyi's words. Then why don't I discuss it with the main system and give you another mission? The little system coughed. You just have to focus on your career and work hard to become the most popular female celebrity. Here, let's set this as a side mission. It thought that it had thought of the most logical and perfect solution, but Xiangyi instantly found a loophole. Is that you? Or, is it you guys? The young girl's question seemed to come out of nowhere, but it shocked the little system. If it had a physical body, its hair would have stood on end. The little system was silent for a long time, trying to play dead. It's okay if it's not convenient to talk about it. I just want to ask, is he Is he okay? Woo woo woo, Ishan was so smart. As expected of the gold medal support who had completed all the transmigration missions. It said weakly, he just exists in a different form. Although she didn't give a clear answer, the young girl's eyebrows still curved. That's really great. Chapter 729. Upon hearing her words, the system began to tear up again, although it didn't have a nose. Sob sob sob, Goddessy is so gentle. I actually participated in the plan to deceive her. The little system was rolling around in a sea of numbers. Should I apologize to Ishin? She's such a nice person, she'll forgive me, right? In the manner. Xu Xinglan tagged along, blushing. Although the young man said that he wanted to ask Xianxia for advice on swordsmanship, he understood everything. She didn't expose him for the sake of the Xu family. Xiang Feng led him and Shi Yu to the hot spring at Little Rabbit Farm to take a bath. Shi Sui returned to her room to take a shower. As for Xianxia, she had already changed into comfortable home clothes and switched on the television to watch a variety show. She then hugged Xiao Naofu and little Shiji in her arms. All of a sudden, the television began to buzz and black and white static appeared. Afterwards, Xianxia sensed that someone was contacting her in her sea of consciousness. She closed her eyes and focused her thoughts. At the same time, she also allowed herself to fall asleep. In the familiar space, she saw a familiar figure. It was a pale and exquisite young man who was as beautiful as an angel. It was Ling Yi. He was someone Xianxia knew when she was about to transmigrate. Previously, he had once occupied the body of Ling Yi in this dimension to assist Qin Wanyan in her mission. However, he suddenly disappeared later on. Xianxia once thought that he had been erased by the system. However, she later sensed that something was amiss. Xianxia tried several times, but the new system that she had bound herself to gave her too much freedom. It didn't seem like it wanted her to complete the mission as soon as possible. Instead, it seemed like she would never be able to complete the mission. She then thought about what Ling Yi had done previously. Xianxia guessed that the system had something to do with Ling Yi. However, she didn't expect Ling Yi to take the initiative to look for her. Their gazes met gently in the air. The system remained silent and didn't dare to speak. After a long silence, Ling Yi said, "Long time no see, sister." Xianxia responded calmly, "Long time no see." Ling Yi said helplessly, "I knew you would guess it." However, he also knew that if he used this trick on others, it would definitely be seen through if he used it on his sister. It was only a matter of time. Xianxia asked gently, "Are you okay?" The young man gulped. Perhaps only his sister would care about him. That's pretty good. Ling Yi smiled. "Big sis, I lied to you. How are you going to punish me? I think you have your own reasons. Sister, aren't you going to ask what it is? Your matters have nothing to do with me." So cold? The young man shrugged. "It seems that I've been thinking too much. Sister really doesn't care about me." He had planned so much to show off to Xianxia. There would also be a, "Look, I've gotten rid of the main system. Am I awesome?" This kind of mentality. But in the end, Xianxia didn't care about this so-called system at all. Xianxia looked at him. "Will you be discovered?" Ling Ye's dim eyes suddenly lit up. "Sister, are you worried about me?" Xianxia said helplessly, "We've known each other for a while. I don't want to see you get erased." Ling Yi said confidently, "No." He emphasized, "Absolutely not." He walked toward Xianxia. His appearance changed little by little until it finally settled on a young man with black hair and tea eyes. He looked somewhat similar to Ling Yi, but he was more dazzling and arrogant. Chapter 730. Very soon, Xianxia understood what the little system meant by existing in a different form. Ling Yi raised his hand. His forearm, which was supposed to be ethereal like a soul, had turned into a piece of data made up of numbers. Xianxia's expression changed slightly. "Although you've already guessed it, I still want to tell you how powerful I am now." Ling Yi behaved like a child, showing off his toy to those close to him. "That's right. I've turned into a piece of data, or rather, a program." Every transmigration system's wish was to turn from a program into a physical body. However, Ling Yi had done the exact opposite. He had turned from a physical body into a piece of data. Xianxia did not comment on his choice. After all, she was not Ling Yi. She did not know what he had experienced, what kind of environment he was in, or what kind of mood he was in. "Why do you insist on existing in a human form?" Ling Ye's body kept changing. In this space he had absolute control. His arms were like those in sci-fi movies. They turned into the body of a furry animal, the outer shell of a cold mecha, and some kind of liquid that glowed with the luster of stars. "The current me has the right of a god. I can exist in any network in the myriad of planes. Ling Ye's lips curled into a frivolous smile. Even the main system can't kill me. Xianxia gasped in amazement. He had actually thought of such a thing and it had actually come true. You're very powerful. You're a genius, Xianxia commented. Ling Ye was not satisfied with her mere numbers. He tilted his head as if he was acting spoiled, and his eyes curved beautifully. Sister, if you want, I can help you. Thank you, but there's no need. Xianxia was not moved by his offer. I feel that the way I am right now is very good. She had a family and a lover, and she was living a peaceful and stable life. Ling Ye's smile disappeared and he carefully sized up Xianxia. The girl's expression was magnanimous without any pretense. Ling Ye mocked himself. His sister had a choice but he had no choice. It's fine. Since you're not interested now, I won't mention it. When you change your mind you can contact me at any time. However, Xianxia thought of another question. That mission is related to the main system? Or did you just randomly post it? Ling Ye winked mischievously. Does Big Sister think that I'll hand you over to another man? Are you the legendary oily being in the human world? Ling Ye gritted his teeth and lowered his head dejectedly. Initially he thought that it would be useful to study some romance novels. Who would have thought that it would backfire? He muttered, I didn't do it. It was indeed released by the main system. But, it doesn't matter if I can finish it or not. The plane you're in now is equivalent to a single-player game. Because I've taken advantage of the loophole, the main system won't realize that we've gone offline. So that was the case. However, she still had a question. Is my world really a book? Well, that depends on what elder sister thinks. To Big Sister this is your world, but to others this is a book. There is no conflict between the two. Xianxia was deep in thought. After a moment she said calmly, You go surfing. I'm leaving. Bye-bye. She ended the dream and opened her eyes. At a glance, she saw the man in a black bathrobe looking at her with a faint smile. Chapter 731. The warm lights flowed like water, pouring down in torrents. Xianxi's heart skipped a beat, but she forced herself to remain calm. Are you done showering? As soon as the words left her mouth, she regretted it. Why did it feel weird? Shui rested his elbows on the sofa cushion and took off his sunglasses. His peach blossom eyes were darker than the night outside the window as he stared unblinkingly at his little bunny. Xianxia was a little embarrassed by his stare. She picked up Xiao Naofu and stood between the two of them, as if this was the only way to feel safe. Xiao Naofu's icy blue cat eyes widened. Meow meow meow? Is this Huhu a tool tiger? Shui raised his hand and scratched Xiao Naofu's chin twice. Xiao Naofu's heart refused, but the dog man's stroking was too comfortable. The kitten even began to snore. This was the peak of a tiger's life. Not long after, Xiao Naofu softened into a puddle of cat biscuit and lay in Shui's arms, calling out coquettishly, Meow meow, Xianxia, did you fall asleep just now? Shui was multitasking and naturally found a topic to talk about. Xianxia nodded. Ahem, you forgot to fix your collar. Let me help you. Shui was wearing a black silk bathrobe. The style was loose, but his belt was loosely tied, which resulted in, his collar was mostly open, revealing his fair skin from his collarbone to his chest. Xianxia was like a worried mother fan. She raised her hand to fix Shui's collar, afraid that his skin would be exposed. Her slender wrist was clasped by the man's large hand, and a steady stream of heat was transmitted to her. Shui chuckled. How do you know if I forgot or did it on purpose? Xianxia froze for a few seconds before gradually coming to her senses. Her face instantly burned. Did her boyfriend mean that he did it on purpose, for her to see? Shui looked at the little girl's flushed cheeks and her head was almost smoking. She lowered her voice as if she was bewitching a demon, but also as if she was purely discussing scientific knowledge. Do you want to know what abdominal muscles feel like? Boom. To little Bunny, this was simply beyond the limits of her shyness. She was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on as she shrunk to the other end of the sofa. No, I don't want to, she said in a tone that did not mean what she said. However, Shui still asked slowly, You really don't want to? Ugh. Xiao Naofu saw that the stupid woman's face was as red as a shrimp and was very puzzled. Weren't they just abs? What's the big deal? This Huhu will touch it for you. Hence, she lifted Shui's bathrobe with her furry paws and pressed them on his well-defined abs. Meow. Xiao Naofu poked it curiously. Hey, it's completely different from the stupid woman's fragrant and soft body. Sister E, it said that pets follow their owners. You cat, are acting like a hooligan. Shui said with a lazy smile. Xiangyi waved her hands repeatedly. No, no, Xiaonaofu, let go. In a moment of desperation she blurted out, all of them. Shi Sui's dark eyes narrowed. Xiaonaofu, however, became playful. First, it pretended to obediently move its paws away, then, it curiously pressed below the abs. Meow. Why do my paws feel hot? Xiangyi grabbed the blanket next to her and covered her head. Shi Sui's expression did not change. She picked up the kitten and slowly brought it in front of her. Do you want Big Brother to kiss you? Xiaonaofu frantically fluttered in the air. Meow 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 meow. Don't King come over. Chapter 732. Xiaonaofu resisted desperately, but the instigator, Shi Sui, had a lazy and playful look. His eyes were dark, his lips were pale, and his jawline was smooth and clear. His perfect and noble face was getting closer and closer. Smack. It was imprinted on Xiaonaofu's forehead. Xiaonaofu let out a humiliated roar. Woof 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 woof. I'm dirty. I'm dirty. After kissing the kitten, Shi Sui released its grip. Xiaonaofu seemed to have suffered a huge blow as it looked at Xiangyi aggrievedly and barked twice. Xiangyi wanted to hug it, but the kitten shook its ears, afraid that the dog would take revenge on it again. It scurried away with its chubby little legs. Little Shiji barked and chased after them anxiously. Not long after, the cat and dog disappeared without a trace. They had no idea where they had gone to hide. Xiangyi was puzzled. Did Xiaonaofu hate me? Little did she know that a certain Hu was really scared. All the gifts of fate had been secretly marked with a price. This is the price of being molested by a dog. Is it angry with me? Xiangyi began to reflect on her actions in the past few days. Every day she would cook delicious cat food for Xiaonaofu, provide it with some snacks, play with it for an hour, and coax it to sleep at night. She would also tell it stories, watch cartoons, listen to music, and so on. Was she not good enough? Children have grown up and have their own little temper. Shi Sui said lazily, his hand wrapped around Xiaonaofu's slender waist. With a little force, he easily pulled her into his arms. Their posture changed to that of a tall man hugging the slender girl from behind. Xiangyi's ears began to burn again, but she didn't push him away. Raising children doesn't seem to be that easy. Not only did she have to pay attention to her diet, but she also had to pay attention to her mood. Don't raise them then, Shi Sui said. Xiangyi turned around and asked, don't you like children? I only like Xiangyi. Xiangyi bit her lips at the sudden words of love. Then she boldly put her arms around Shi Sui's neck. Her soft voice trembled slightly, but it was firm and brave. I also like Shi Sui. Was this a mutual confession? After Xiangyi finished speaking, she couldn't help but bury her face in Shi Sui's collarbone. The soft flesh on the back of Shi Sui's neck was completely red. Shi Sui patted her back and comforted her gently. Xiangyi adjusted her emotions, and soon, the girl returned to her usual calm and steady appearance. I'm a transmigrator with a gold medal as support. What does a few words of love count for? The little girl comforted herself in her heart. Then with a taut face she said in shock, you said it last night? Let's begin. In the courtyard of the private restaurant, Shi Sui turned off the microphone and said a few words to her. That is, the two of them watched a movie together. The kind where they held hands the whole time. In order not to be disturbed, Xiangyi had an idea. Let's watch in my room? There was a projector installed in her bedroom. When it was turned on, it could project the entire wall. Shi Sui, who originally wanted to tease the little rabbit, swallowed hard. That's not very appropriate. Yeah. Xiangyi hit her forehead and said in annoyance, what if I do something to you? Shi Sui was confused. The temperature of the air continued to rise, and there was a faint ambiguity. The man's low laughter was slightly hoarse. When it entered her ears, it caused a slight itch and tugged at her heartstrings. Sistery, I'm bold, I'm not afraid. Chapter 733. Xiangyi didn't know if she was possessed, but by the time she woke up, she found herself lying on the bed in her bedroom. But beside her, there was another person. The projector was playing a classic horror movie. Unfortunately, the two of them were mentally strong and the movie didn't achieve the desired effect at all. Xiangyi wrapped the small blanket tightly around herself. She felt uncomfortable. She slept with Xiaonaofu every day, but the feeling between a kitten and a man was really different. It felt like her territory had been occupied, and it was full of oppression. There was a distance between the two of them, but their hands were holding and their fingers were intertwined. Xiangyi gently scratched Shi Sui's palm. That? Their eyes met and time seemed to have stopped. The lights were extinguished and only the light from the curtains spilled down. Frame by frame, the light moved like twinkling stars. Xianxia licked the corner of her mouth, which was inexplicably dry. Should I meet your parents? In the girl's mind, dating was a matter between two people, but it should also be approved by both parties' families. Come to think of it, Xianxia had already met several of her brothers. Needless to say, he had also met her grandparents. However, she knew nothing about Xianxia's family. Xianxia was silent for a moment before whispering, "My family had some changes. After that, my father chose to die. My mother was traumatized and is still recuperating abroad." Xianxia was stunned. She had heard that there was a change in the Xie family, but she didn't know it was so cruel. "I'm sorry?" The girl couldn't bear it. Xianxia continued, "As for the generation before me, I'm not very close to them. I rarely go out with them except during the New Year. I've never mentioned it because I think it's not worth mentioning. Secondly, I'm worried that you'll dislike Sister E. After all, our family isn't as close as yours." The relationship between the Xie family members was very indifferent, and Xianxia had long been used to it. Xianxia looked into his eyes. "I won't dislike you, never." Xianxia was speechless. The young lady was always so sincere in front of him. He raised his hand to cover his eyes and said with some difficulty, "Sister E, I'm not as good as you think. Go. I secretly bullied Xiao Naofu. Is it right?" "You know?" Xianxia turned over and got closer to him. Her clear eyes were filled with gentleness. "I've always known." Xianxia moved his hand away, a trace of astonishment on his face. His thick and long eyelashes fluttered twice. "Doesn't Sister E hate it? How could this be?" Xianxia smiled. "I like your gentle look, I like your pitiful look, and I also like your green tea look. You're so cute, so I really like it too." Xianxia's Adam's apple moved slightly. For a moment he didn't know what to say. "I just like you the most." The young lady blushed and tried to burrow under the blanket like an ostrich. However, Xianxia held her tightly, not allowing her to retreat. His voice was hoarse. "Say it again." "No." His warm fingertips stroked her earlobe and gently rubbed it twice. As he wished, he saw that her little ears were completely red. "Good girl, Sister E." His moist and hot breath enveloped her. Little by little, it attracted a dense electric current that exploded on her nerve endings. "Coax me, Chapter 734. The movie was still going on, but no one was paying attention to the content. It had completely become background music. The distance between them was close and the atmosphere was ambiguous. The girl's beautiful doe eyes were filled with tears. She couldn't remember how many times she had been forced to say, "I like you the most." The little rabbit was so shy that she was trembling slightly, and her fingertips and toes were curled up unconsciously. Xianxia caressed her cheek and kissed her again and again, gently and lovingly. The feeling of touching each other was wonderful and touching. "Xianxia." The girl was so sleepy that her eyelids were drooping, and she called out to him in a soft voice. "You have me in the future." His heart felt as if it had been hit by something. It didn't hurt, but instead, it felt as if it was wrapped in soft and warm cotton candy. It was filled with sweetness. It was as if all the regrets, darkness, and bigotry had been redeemed at this moment. The gray haze dissipated, and in his eyes and heart, there was only the gentle and soft girl in front of him. She had fallen asleep. Her fingers were still unconsciously grabbing the corner of his shirt. Perhaps because she had been bullied too hard, the girl's eyes were slightly red. Xianxia gently wiped her eyes with his fingers and replied softly, "Yes, I love you and only you." It was late at night on this side of the ocean, but the sun was rising on the other side of the ocean. A Chinese director, Wuxia, yawned as he raised his head from a pile of manuscripts. He looked particularly haggard after staying up all night. "It's finally done?" His new movie was in the midst of filming. It was a standard Western commercial blockbuster style, but it had integrated traditional Chinese elements. The collision of Eastern and Western cultures created a strong chemical reaction. Just a few leaked photos had been released, and the mainstream media had already concluded that this would be the best-selling movie of the year internationally. However, outsiders didn't understand Wuxia's pain. How to combine business and art was a difficulty that every director would encounter. The initial filming of the movie was very smooth, and it had been gradually getting better. However, he had encountered some difficulties recently. He had integrated kung fu elements into the movie, and wanted to design a traditional Chinese swordsman with a chic and classical feel. However, the martial arts director's several versions did not meet his requirements. With limited funds, Wuxia couldn't be stuck here forever. He was now faced with a choice. Should he make do or should he persist? Sigh. He looked at the messy storyboard and drank the coffee that was left in the cup. It was already cold and the bitterness made him frown. Forget it, let's relax for a while. Wuxia took out her phone and refreshed her social media app. She scrolled down her list of followers and liked them from time to time. When he saw an official account of the Hua Nation, his fingertips suddenly paused. Martial arts. Stopping war is martial arts. Martial arts is the art of self-cultivation. Kung Fu? Wuxia's interest was piqued. She clicked on the video below. What came into view was a dojo. Wuxia's first reaction was, the decoration taste was terrible. The nondescript antique style was simply an aesthetic disaster. But soon, his attention was attracted by the young boy and girl in the video. The two of them each held a wooden sword. Not to mention anything else, just their appearance alone was pleasing to the eye. Yen controlling Wuxia was greatly satisfied. In the next second, the two of them started fighting. Wuxia's eyes went from relaxed to shocked, and then to surprised. Before he finished watching the video, he stood up and dialed his assistant's number. Book me a ticket to Hua Nation. Immediately. Chapter 735. At the same time, the internet was still bustling with activity late at night. Netizens were surfing the internet, commenting on national affairs, teasing celebrities about their scandals, complaining about their weird leaders and sharing their beautiful daily lives. When the netizens saw a post posted by the official daily newspaper, everyone's reaction was similar to Wuxia's as they curiously paused their fingertips. Martial arts. Stopping war is martial arts. Martial arts is the art of self-cultivation. People who practice martial arts should have a strong physique, internal and external cultivation, and have both virtue and martial arts. Xianxia Vishu who loves to practice swordsmanship. These two young people show the elegance of martial arts, promote traditional culture and don't forget their original passion. Only then can they achieve great success in martial arts. Everyone clicked on the video of the battle between Xianxia and Xu Xinglan. The video had been edited and it was obvious that it was the work of a big shot. The camera switching, the color of the picture, the background music and the rhythm of the storyboard were all top-notch. It was comparable to an official documentary. In this video, the swordsmanship of China was displayed in an artistic manner. At the end of the video, the wooden sword was broken and Xianxia immediately withdrew her sword. The screen turned black and two lines of captions appeared: frowny face since coming out of the cave, there is no need to show mercy. Virtue is the most important, courtesy is the most important, harmony is the most precious, and sincerity is the most important. A sense of shock hit them in the face. Countless people were stunned for a while before coming to their senses. They couldn't help but watch the video for the second time. Oh my god, I feel like I've regained the hot-blooded feeling of reading wuxia novels when I was a child. Sister E is so polite. She didn't press the advantage and instead stopped when it's time to attack. This is the spirit of Chinese martial arts. This must be a fake fight, right? Can she really fight at such a level? Does China really have kung fu? This is unbelievable. After the passers-by were done lamenting, they suddenly realized, what the F***ck? Xianxia is being praised by the official media again? How many times has it been? It was rare for other artists to be praised even once. None of them were like Sister E, whom the official media couldn't wait to praise every day. It was like an elder showing off to his relatives how outstanding his child was during the new year. Because of the content and the quality of the production, this video quickly went viral and became extremely popular. In the wee hours of the morning, a blogger brought back news that the video had gone viral overseas. Many netizens praised, putting everything else aside, Xianxia has really made China proud. Regarding this, the spicy tutu girls expressed their opinions. Just SOSO, it's normal basic operation, our sister E is just an ordinary girl. We don't know why she's so popular. The fans of several A-list female celebrities in the country felt a growing sense of crisis. In the beginning, when Xianxia became popular, it was more like she was an internet celebrity. In fact, people in the industry didn't really recognize her status. But now she had received the official recognition, which meant that she had a backer. The industry would also re-evaluate her commercial value. It was said that several luxury brands and national brands had already started to contact Xianxia's management team. Invitations for TV series and movie scripts had also arrived like snowflakes. The cake in the market was only so big. Originally, everyone had a piece of the cake and everything was peaceful. Now that Xianxia had appeared, it wasn't a fight for the cake. He wanted to eat the whole cake. How could he tolerate this? Of course not. Hence, a wave of organized, disciplined and premeditated attacks began. They avoided the topic of Xianxi's personality and talent and focused on one thing: frowny face. Xianxi doesn't have any representative works. Chapter 736. A few A-list female fans had joined forces to form the so-called anti-explosion team, which was not to be underestimated. Unlike the fake reviewers who only knew how to copy and paste, they were very flexible. Some pretended to be fans, some were sarcastic, and some used all kinds of methods to ridicule Shui. I've been a fan of Sister Yi for a long time. Our Sister Yi's masterpiece is the most popular live variety show in the country. Who can compare to her among the starlets in the same batch? As an artist, isn't the most important thing to have in your career? You can't even do your main job well, and you're doing all these fancy side jobs every day. TSK, you're just not doing your job properly. The phrase, although I smoke, drink and perm my hair, I'm a good girl, is similar to, although I don't have any movies, TV dramas or music, I'm a good artist. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. After taking turns to lead, the effect was indeed remarkable. On the internet, there was a discussion about what kind of artist is qualified to be an artist. The mainstream view was that as an artist, the most basic thing was to sing, dance, and act well. In addition, because artists were public figures, there were also requirements for morality and artistry. As the discussion went on, the crowd began to take stock of Shui. Her professional skills were top-notch, her attitude was professional and polite, and she had a series of representative works and was extremely popular. However, she never acted like a big shot, nor did she accept advertisements. As for requests for selfies and selfies from fans, he would do his best to satisfy them. Since her debut, she had kept herself clean and had not been involved in any scandals with other women. She actively participated in public welfare and never walked the red carpet. Every time she attended a charity banquet, she would donate the highest amount. The more the crowd looked at her, the more they felt that Shui was a textbook model artist. All kinds of flattering essays came one after another, leaving the anti-explosion team confused. What? Why are you praising Shui? Weren't we scolding Xianxi? They finally understood how painful it was for a language teacher to see an off-topic essay. This child is unteachable. Day and night changed and the sunlight cut through the mist and shone on the cozy manor. At 8 o'clock, Jianghu started the live stream as usual. He first filmed the scene in the courtyard. The courtyard was flourishing with flowers, separated by a fence into another area. Chickens, ducks, and geese swaggered around, chatting with each other from time to time. Jianghu muttered to himself. Usually at this time, Sister Yi should have finished practicing her swordsmanship and was cooking. Why was she nowhere to be seen today? There was also Father Shi. He had the habit of running in the morning. By right, he should be back by now. He switched to the camera in the living room and happened to catch Xiao Naofu and little Shiji sleeping together in the kitty villa. The kitten was sleeping on the creamy belly of the Shiba Inu, snoring. Little Shiji hugged it and hooked its tail around it. Immediately, a group of netizens in the live stream were jealous. Not only did I have to eat Sister Yi's dog food, I didn't expect Xiao Naofu and little Shiji to be so lovey-dovey. I'm so jealous. Even Xiao Naofu has little Shiji to sleep with. I'm already in my 20s and still single. Ah, the West Axe couple is real. Little Shiji is so domineering, he's hugging Xiao Naofu so tightly. At this moment, a girl under a microscope typed a row of exclamation marks. Damn. Am I seeing things? Look at the lower left corner. Shui came out of Sister Yi's room. Chapter 737. Everyone took a closer look. That tall, slender and calm figure was none other than Shui. The live stream was in an uproar. Another day of crying over someone else's love? Rounding it off, she should have a child by now, right? I bet 50 cents on twins. Why don't we call them Shimuxiang Shirmuyi? Boo-hoo, I'm not betting on the untimely CP, I'm betting on the TV series Sweet Biscuits. Jianghu, who was in the director's office, spat out a mouthful of coffee. What's going on? Have the two of them come to fruition? Or did Daddy Shi take advantage of the dark night to bully Sister Yi? Daddy Shi was such a dog, the possibility of the latter was very high. Jianghu was filled with grief and indignation. Sister Yi was so gentle and cute, how could he do that to her? Daddy Shi be a human? At this moment, Xiang Feng yawned as he came out of the room and bumped into Shui. Good morning, Sui. Xiang Feng's hair was messy like a chicken's nest. He casually brushed it twice, feeling very good about himself. Shui nodded calmly. Good morning. Are Yu and Lan awake yet? You have to eat breakfast, don't starve the kids. Xiang Feng chatted for a while and suddenly realized that something was wrong. His eyes widened. You. Why did you come out of my little Xiangxi's room? Shui looked like she hadn't slept well. She leaned against the wall lazily and said in a hoarse voice, I had no choice, Sister Yi asked me to sleep in her room. Last night, after Xiangxi fell asleep, he was about to return to his room, but as soon as he moved, his little bunny woke up. Later on, Xiang Feng's body trembled. What did you say? My little bunny actually knows how to drive a dog? When the livestream viewers heard the conversation between the two, some conservative people expressed their inability to accept it. Girls should be more self-centered. Xiangxi is such a proactive woman, I can't stand it anyway. A group of people shouting that a woman is greedy for a man's body. Once the gender is changed there will be tens of thousands of comments. Shui rubbed the space between her eyebrows and said, I'll go and see if Yu and the others are up yet. Don't even think about running. Xiang Feng's hair stood on end as he exploded from a bird's nest into a hedgehog. Where's my knife? Where's my saber? He didn't find the saber, but he did find Xu Xinglan's wooden sword. Xiang Feng wielded his sword like a matchstick, yelling that he wanted to beat up Shui. Crick. Another door was pulled open. Xiangxi rubbed her eyes and looked sleepily at the two people standing in the living room. Morning. Is there anything you want to eat? The little girl's voice was warm and soft. Probably because she was still a little sleepy, her tone didn't sound as calm as usual. Instead, it sounded a little like she was acting coquettishly. Xiang Feng was surprised. Why did you come out of Shui's room? The audience in the live broadcast room was also dumbfounded. These two people actually didn't stay in the same room? Xiangxi, Only then did the girl react. She knocked on her hangover head, trying to recall last night's memories. Some images surfaced in her mind. After she woke up last night, she dragged Shui to drink. She seemed to have drunk too much and insisted that Shui sleep on her bed. She seemed to have even rolled around on the ground. In the end, Shui had no choice but to sleep in her room. However, a certain black-bellied movie king tricked her into going to his room. Xiangxi, social death was nothing more than that. Chapter 738. Everyone watched as the little girl's ears turned red, but she still clenched her fists and pretended to be calm. I went the wrong way. This, was like an ancient well without any ripples, without any soul. The girl looked at Shui and said, what a coincidence, you went the wrong way too. Shui raised her eyebrows and chuckled. Whatever Sister Yi says. It was a vivid interpretation of what it meant to dote on one's wife. Xiang Feng's gaze moved back and forth between the two of them. His mood was first gratified, then melancholy. The cycle was endless. He was gratified that his little bunny didn't push the dog away, nor was she pushed away by the dog. He was melancholy because his good brother really couldn't do it? He was very conflicted. In consideration of everyone's different tastes, Xiangxi made a simple breakfast. Sandwiches, buns, crystal shrimp dumplings, oatmeal milk, black coffee, vegetables and eggs were also indispensable. Yu and Xu Xinglan, one adult and one child, ate with great relish. Xiang Feng teased, Lan, aren't you going to carry your wife today? Xu Xinglan, who was stuffing a ham and cheese sandwich into his mouth, showed a hint of confusion in his beautiful eyes. Oh right. Where's my wife? The young man seemed to have woken up from a dream and stood up abruptly, clearly flustered. My wife is gone. The audience watching the live stream burst into laughter. Little brother is too slow. What's so important about your wife? Eat first. Shocking, a certain young man actually abandoned his wife. Is this the distortion of human nature or the decay of morality? Stop teasing him, Xiangxi said. As soon as she said that, Xiang Feng didn't dare to be mischievous anymore. He obediently found the wooden sword hidden behind the sofa pillow and returned it to Xu Xinglan. What a joke, he wasn't afraid of Xiangxi. What he was afraid of was the people who supported Xiangxi. For example, Shui and Xiang Qin. Xu Xinglan hugged his little wife tightly as if he had found a treasure. A few seconds later he silently let go. He said in all seriousness, my wife is affecting the speed at which I eat. After saying that, he picked up the half-eaten sandwich and took a bite. Viewers in the livestream room? Brother, do you know that your actions are called #I'm slapping my own face #? Buzz. Xiangxi's phone vibrated. It was a call from her bodyguard. Miss, there's a guest. Xiangxi was a little confused. Guests? But today isn't the day for the guests. Li Jinyu also installed a fixed camera at the gate. He switched the camera position and found a tall man standing at the gate. He looked like a mixed-race man. He was worried that the bodyguard couldn't understand English, so he was gesticulating with his hands. The bodyguard was expressionless and spoke to him in fluent English. Even the bodyguard's English was so good. The owner of this manor was probably hiding something. He explained the purpose of his visit. I want to invite 2 people to participate in the filming of my movie. Oh, he's a director? Before anyone could recognize him, Shui said, it's director Wuxia. Hearing this name, there was a lot of gasps from both the audience and the livestream. Wuxia, the talented Chinese director who was renowned both at home and abroad, the director whose movies had accumulated more than 10 billion box office sales. In an instant, everyone's eyes were fixed on Shui. Presumably, for such an internationally renowned director to pay a visit, it must be to look for Xianxia. Shui smiled and said, I don't think he's here for me. Chapter 739. What? If he's not here for Shui, doesn't that mean? Countless spectators' gazes fell on the girl beside him at the same time. Is he here for Sister Yi? How is that possible? Wuxia is an international director and he has never worked with an Asian actress before. This is his first time working with an Asian actress. She has to be an award-winning actress, right? He said that he's here for Xianxia. Is he trying to make me laugh to death so that he can inherit my ranking in the game? I know it's impossible. A real director doesn't care about popularity but acting skills. Does Xianxia have that? The Xianxia drama in which Xianxia and Shui acted as guest stars for director Zheng had yet to be broadcasted. Hence, the audience's impression of Xianxia's acting skills was still limited to that of the idol drama she starred in the past year. She glared at them in anger. She glared at them in shock. She glared at them in sadness. Even when the male lead confessed to her, she glared at him too. At that time, Xianxia was so popular that she was out of the entertainment industry. There were pictures of her acting skills all over the internet. Hence, everyone naturally thought that director Wuxia would rather find Xiao Naofu and little Shiji to act in his drama than Xianxia. Out of courtesy, Shui and Xianxia went to the door to welcome director Wuxia. The production team confirmed with him that he had agreed to film before following the livestream. As soon as he saw Xianxia, director Wuxia's eyes lit up. It's her. It's her. She was petite and slender, with delicate facial features and a gentle aura. However, she was extremely strong and could defeat a burly man with one punch. What he wanted was precisely this feeling of contrast. Hello, my name is Wuxia. Director Wuxia greeted them with a smile, his accent sounding a little awkward. Shui stepped forward and greeted him. Wuxia said, You're a very outstanding actor. I've watched all your movies. That was enough to show that he approved of Shui. Thank you, I like the movies you starred in too. The two of them complimented each other and Wuxia couldn't help but rub his hands together. Can you introduce this lady to me? He was so nervous that he blurted out in English. Of course, Shui nodded and naturally switched to English to introduce him and Xianxia to each other. Xianxia also communicated with director Wuxia in English. Hearing Xianxia's fluent English, Wuxia couldn't wait to sign the contract with her on the spot. That's great. Amazing. This must be the blessing of the goddess of luck for him to meet Xianxia. His role in the movie was practically tailor-made for her. Wuxia said sincerely, Miss Yang, please forgive me for my abruptness and presumptuousness, but I really think that you're very suitable for one of my movie roles. I would like to invite you with the greatest sincerity to participate in the filming of my movie. The live stream was in an uproar. Wuxia actually really came to look for Xianxia to film a movie? A few of the A-list female fans rushed over when they heard the news. When they saw the translated content in the bullet screen, they almost vomited blood. No, what did Xianxia do to deserve this? What right did she have to act in an international blockbuster? Also, is there something wrong with director Wuxia's taste and aesthetics? Can't he just look for his sister? Why does he have to look for Xianxia? Is she good at acting? Can she act in movies? Can she act better than others? All of a sudden there were doubts everywhere. I'm now suspecting that this director Wuxia is a fake. I think so too, it might be some new type of scam. Is Xianxia worthy of such a good deal? She's not. Isn't she afraid of choking to death? Chapter 740. Regarding this, Spicy Tutu fans' response could be described as a template. Okay, she's a liar. Yes, whatever you say is right. Wow. You guys even found out about this. You're all great, Detective Yun. Okay, fine. Our sister E isn't worthy, but your idol is. She's going to be famous all over the country and abroad. She's going to win so many Oscars. The audience in the comments section burst into laughter. What kind of silly fans are Spicy Tutu fans? They can't even get into a catfight. They're just trying to fool the winner. You guys must be the successors of the modern school of fooling. The anti-explosion team was speechless. It felt as if they had punched cotton and couldn't exert any strength at all. You think that you've hurt the other party and they'll be so upset that they'll burst into tears. You didn't expect them to actually be enjoying themselves and not take you seriously at all. Isn't that infuriating? However, they had no idea how to vent their anger. Spicy Tutu didn't scold them or step on them. Instead, she was rather Buddhist, just a little perfunctory. In this situation, if they were to get into a fight, the passers-by would instead side with Spicy Tutu. Therefore, the explosion-proof team could only grit their teeth and swallow their grievances. They felt so wronged. In the living room of the manor, Xianxia brought Wuxia a cup of coffee. Wuxia took a sip and cast a look of admiration at Xianxia. Double espresso. It was his favorite ratio. The coffee beans were fragrant and the temperature was just right. Taking a sip was both refreshing and enjoyable. He once again mentioned that he wanted Xianxia and Xu Xinglan to act in his new movie. He also explained his understanding of Eastern culture and swordsmanship. Xu Xinglan hugged his wife and stood at the side, slowly digesting the words of director Wuxia's speech. Film a movie? To him, this was something that he had never thought of before. The young man's expression was blank as he tightened his grip on his sword. Xiangxi's reaction was also very calm as she sipped on the peach oolong that she had brewed. Wuxia was confused. The famous director, who had always rejected others and had never been rejected before, fell into a state of confusion. Was it no longer attractive to make his movies? Why were the two of them so indifferent? The audience? Is there a problem with my English listening? Is Director Mu inviting Xianxia and Xu Xinglan to make a movie? Yes, but it's not quite appropriate to use the word invite. It should be more appropriate to use beg. The lively comment section fell into a mysterious silence. Let them sort it out. It wasn't like Xianxia and Xu Xinglan were crying and begging to act in Director Mu's movie. It was Director Mu who had begged them to shoot. Most importantly, the two of them were not overwhelmed by the favor, nor were they overjoyed. How many celebrities in the entertainment industry would be envious of this? Xu Xinglan pursed her lips, unable to make up her mind. She looked at Xianxia for help. Elder sister, I'll listen to you. Yesterday when they were sparring he was still calling her Miss Yang, but after dinner he changed to calling her big sister. Xianxia wasn't against acting in a movie. Director Mu, don't we need to audition? Director Mu was stunned for more than 10 seconds before he roared, what the hell? What audition? I don't need it. Are you satisfied with the pay? If you're not, I can increase it. Miss Yang, Mr. Xu, feel free to make any requests. It's already an honor for the two of you to appear in front of my camera. The audience was dumbfounded. Wuxia, wake up, you're an internationally renowned director. Don't you have any pride? Why are you acting like a simp? Chapter 741. However, no matter what others thought, Wuxia's thoughts were extremely firm. His pursuit of art, capture of the market and fusion of hot elements had resulted in his high-quality films and box office hits. Xianxia and Xu Xinglan were like connecting points. As long as they were connected, they would form a perfect closed loop. You're being too polite, Xianxia said politely. Wuxia hurriedly asked, you guys agree? Xianxia nodded and said, I look forward to working with you. Xu Xinglan chimed in, me too. Xianxia said, I hope my performance won't disappoint you. Xu Xinglan said, me too. Xianxia said, if there are any problems during the filming process, just tell me. I don't have a glass heart. Xu Xinglan said, me too. Wuxia said excitedly, I'll get someone to draw up the contract right away. In the comments section of the live stream, I'm going to die of laughter sooner or later. His brother is like me who has a poor vocabulary. He can't say anything other than me too. F***ck. Doesn't that make Xianxia the first Asian actress Director Mu has ever worked with? Xianxia can brag about it for the rest of her life. The viewers watching the live stream were not the only ones who were amazed. In the blink of an eye, people in the industry also learned that Wuxia was going to work with Xianxia. It was the nature of capitalists to pursue profits. Immediately, the number of endorsements and scripts that came knocking increased several times. The luxury brands that were previously on the sidelines even took the initiative to lower their status and put on the most sincere attitude to seek cooperation. Wuxia was extremely efficient, and he soon got someone to draw up the contract. Si Chuanbai and Ah Nan rushed over, followed by the elite lawyers from Linshan law firm who specialized in contract law and overseas law. After carefully checking every clause of the contract, The lawyer proposed a few amendments, and Wuxia arranged for someone to work with him to amend the contract on the spot. It could be said that he had given the greatest sincerity. It was the most preferential contract. Even Xu Xinglan was basking in the limelight. The young man signed the contract in a daze, and only then did he look at the remuneration. Hey, why are there so many zeros? He rubbed his eyes and repeated it several times before he believed that he was seeing things. The young man pretended to be calm, but he couldn't help but exclaim, "I can buy many, many wives." The netizens were amused by him and started to make jokes. Human trafficking warning. Objectifying women warning. Warning for polygamy and bigamy. Unexpectedly, the joke went on and on, unexpectedly attracted the attention of the internet police. A line of bold red words appeared on everyone's screens. Received a report from the public that there are human traffickers involved in human trafficking in this stream? The staff noticed this and hurriedly told Li Jianyu. Li Jianyu was easily frightened. He shuddered and quickly entered the camera to explain. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. The child's Chinibu syndrome is acting up. When Xu Xinglan said, wife, he wasn't referring to a human in the real world, but his sword. Xu Xinglan was so embarrassed that her face turned red. She bowed to the camera and apologized to the audience. Even so, the cyber police conducted a detailed investigation to ensure that no one was suspected of committing a crime before retreating. The audience, who had been as quiet as chickens just now, were now jumping up and down with joy. I'm dying of laughter, baby. Debut on the spot. Brother, you're breaking the law. I declare you a heart-stealing criminal. Am I the only one who thinks that Shui is a has-been? She can't even get a minor role? Chapter 742. First, there was Spicy Tutu, and now there was Shui sisters making fun of themselves. The screen was filled with comments. Hashtag Shui no good hashtag. Hashtag Shui not popular hashtag. Hashtag Shui has been hashtag. Everyone was speechless. What kind of fans are these? Why don't you guys play by the rules? How could they make fun of their own artists like this? How much hatred and resentment do you have? Of course, the Shui sisters all agreed that they were the only ones who could make fun of them. At most, they could just barely add Spicy Tutu to the list. I don't approve of him. Epsilon of. In fact, they didn't have to worry about Shui's career at all. Shui had already won the Best Actor award and had also won the Best Actor award. He had many representative works in movies and television series, and had a lot of outstanding roles. Even though he had retired from the film industry, he didn't have any regrets. He was dedicated and disciplined enough. Now that he was finally willing to take a break, his fans were happier than anyone else. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. After signing the contract, director Wuxia couldn't wait to talk about the script, but his phone kept ringing. What? Really, Jesus? After answering a few calls, he looked like he had nothing to live for. Xianxia poured him a glass of water and asked, Director Mu, are you okay? Wuxia wanted to cry but no tears came out. My male lead has run away. Ha! Xianxia was confused. Did he not have time to sign the contract? No, he signed it, but he would rather pay the liquidated damages. His father has retired and he has to go back to inherit the family business and become the king. Xianxia was confused. Shui usually had the habit of watching domestic and foreign movies, so he knew a lot about foreign artists. He explained to Xianxia, George Alexander, because of his passion, has devoted himself to acting for many years. His father is the king of a small country and he is the first in line to inherit the throne. Xianxia said in realization, Oh, I see. In the live stream? How? How can this work? If he doesn't work hard, he can only go home and be the king. This is probably because his family owns a mine. Oh no, he has a family in the mine. Wuxia was worried to death. Although there weren't many scenes for the male lead yet, George was already the most compatible person with the character and temperament he could find. Where could she find a new male lead? Was the filming of the movie going to be put on hold for the time being? Wuxia sighed and scratched her hair. Her receding hairline looked even more precarious. It was a sight to behold. What should we do now? Wuxia lamented. Her eyes accidentally fell on Shui. The man held a cat teaser and calmly played with Xiao Naofu. He was wearing a simple white cotton shirt, casual and languid. His hair had grown a little longer recently, and he hadn't had the time to cut it, so it slightly covered his eyebrows. He was a 27-year-old man, but he had an inexplicable sense of being a young man. It was clean and fresh. Wuxia's eyes lit up. He had watched all of Shui's movies. Not only was she good-looking, but her acting was also impeccable. Wuxia had not considered Shui because of the restrictions of the foreign country. But today, by chance he came to South City. Wasn't this fate predestined by fate? Wuxia's eyes revealed the fanaticism of an artist. Mr. Shi, I wonder if you're interested in being the male lead in my movie? Shui, this? Wuxia interrupted her. To put it simply, he was getting carried away. I believe that we'll make the best movie ever. Our names will go down in history. The audience was in a daze. Was Shui talking about the male lead? Chapter 743. Although Shui's resources were already very good, and it wasn't as if he had never worked with an international director before, but even if he had a family in the mine, would he care about the size of the mine? No. Shui's sisters in particular were all extremely excited when they heard this. Shui had already won the Best Actor award in the country. If he could win the Best Actor award internationally? Shui, let's go. I'm sorry Shui, I shouldn't have criticized you. You're the best. Our journey is the Sea of Stars. We're aiming for an Oscar. There were a few comments that said, is it that easy to win an Oscar? But most people had high hopes for Shui. In the face of absolute power, everything else was insignificant. However, Shui had his own considerations. Just as he was about to politely decline, he said, "Thank you for your kindness, but Wuxia said, "Are you worried about the emotional scenes?" Apart from a few intimate scenes within, played by Xianxia, the male lead doesn't interact with any other female characters. If you don't mind, I can edit it. Shui said with a straight face, "I think I can act in it." Everyone was dumbfounded. Shui, your answer is so coquettish. Wuxia looked back and forth between him and Xianxia. She suddenly chuckled and said, "Shall I add more intimate scenes for you too?" Little Uncle Xiangfeng coughed and said with the dignity of an elder, "There's no need for that. Everyone wants to see the plot. Who wants to see the two of them hugging and kissing on the big screen? It's like children playing house." Wuxia said seriously, "This is not child's play. It's for the sake of art." The viewers of the live stream were appalled. Ha, well done. Mr. Xiang. We can watch their intimate scenes even if they shoot for 10 hours. I feel that Director Mu is naturally sly on the inside. She has accurately grasped Shui's weakness. After some discussion, one more person signed the contract. The official filming date was set to be 2 weeks later, which was the end of the live stream of Two Under One Roof. The details of the contract could not be exposed, but the filming date was not concealed. The audience suddenly realized that a small puzzle was about to be completed. Was the live broadcast variety show that had accompanied everyone for the entire summer going to end just like that? Sadness shrouded the comments section. I don't want this to end at all. How did time pass so quickly? I can't bear to part with Shui and Sister E. There will be a second season, right? Please return to the original team. Sob, please. Fortunately, the production team had already made preparations. Li Jinyu put away his usual joking style and said seriously, "Every time we meet, there will be times of separation. Every time we separate, it's also for the sake of a better next time. I hope that everyone won't be immersed in the emotions of, the show is about to end. Instead, enjoy Two Under One Roof, and the happiness that Sister E and Shui bring to everyone. Feel and cherish the meaning of life. This is also the original intention of our variety show." Many people in front of their screens felt a lump in their throat when they heard this. It was as if they were chasing a book or a drama series, looking forward to the end, but when the day came they would feel lost. However, that emotion did not last long. Everyone heard the conversation between Wuxia and Xianxia. "Then I'll go back and film the other scenes first. Since you're already here, why don't you stay for a meal, Director Mu?" Chapter 744. If one had to choose the words with the most magical power in the world, it would definitely be, "Since you're already here." These words could make people eat more, walk more, climb more, and shop more. It could literally cover all their basic necessities. Especially when they were hiking, even though they didn't have the strength to continue, when they heard the words, "Since you're already here," at least half of them would follow along. Director Wuxia declined. No, I'm quite busy. Besides, I grew up abroad and I'm not used to Chinese food." He was being very reserved. In fact, it wasn't that he wasn't used to Chinese food, but that he hated it. Wuxia's mother was a Cathayan, and she had excellent, dark cuisine skills. Wuxia often joked that it was a miracle that he was still alive. The domineering CEO Xiangfeng waved his hand. "That's easy, I'll get you a chef." Wuxia hesitated for a moment before agreeing. However, he couldn't help but ask, "Zheng, what do you mean?" Soon, the chef from the five-star hotel that Xianxia had hired arrived at the manor. He even brought along a bunch of assistants. It was rare for Xianxia to have some free time, so she made a simple soup and marinated some meat slices. Then she took Director Mu around for a walk. Even though Mu Si had been to many aristocratic parks and was lucky enough to be invited by the Queen of Country E as a guest, he boasted that he had seen the world. However, when he saw the cozy courtyard that Xianxia took care of and the farm that was a combination of garden style and technology style, he couldn't stop praising it. "Oh, this glass greenhouse is amazing. The light and shadow are perfect for making a literary film. Oh my god, these little animals are so cute. What? They're not pets but food? They're so cute they must be delicious. This pond is very artistic. Oh my god, I'm suddenly inspired. Miss Yang, can I take photos here?" Xianxia said gently, "Sure, feel free to do as you please." Mu Si was overjoyed. He carefully selected the best angles and took several photos. After walking around, it was almost time for dinner. Everyone returned to the living room. The five-star chef was extremely efficient and had already prepared the cold dishes and appetizers. When Xianxia and the others returned, the dishes were served. What was worth mentioning was that someone had specially set up the dining table. The white tablecloth was matched with exquisite sound quality tableware. There were a few freesia in the vase, which was decorated with sparkling water droplets. The chef invited by Xianxia was a master of French cuisine. Every dish he made was like a work of art. However, Xianxia wasn't happy eating at all. This amount was too little. The eater had lost his soul. Even though Xu Xinglan and Shi Yu had deliberately changed a few dishes in consideration of the children's tastes, the two little ones still ate very little. The reason was very simple. He was not used to it. They still wanted to eat Xiangxi's cooking more. Fortunately, Xianxia had already considered this point. She took out a small copper pot and placed it into Little Rabbit Farm's newest product, hot pot base. There was beef oil on one side and tomato soup on the other. The ingredients were ready-made. Someone in the kitchen had already prepared them and sent them over. Although the head chef did not say anything, Mu Si felt that it was somewhat inappropriate. Well, if I eat this, wouldn't it be a little disrespectful to the chef's hard work? After all, French cuisine had strict dining etiquette. Even the order of each dish was particular. These words attracted the approval of many people in the live stream. Yeah, isn't that too rude? Chapter 745. I'm dying of laughter. What kind of country bumpkin is Xianxia? Come on, how can you eat Western food with hot pot? Don't you know how to eat? The hot pot must be very strong. Will it affect the taste of French food? Xianxia is being too irresponsible. Xianxia led the two kids to the floor-to-ceiling window furthest away from the dining table and added charcoal to the small copper pot. Coincidentally, the head chef personally came out to deliver the main dish, which was a fried steak. His assistants helped him serve the dishes in turn. However, the head chef did not go back immediately. Instead, he chatted with Xiaomi. "Xiaomi, long time no see. I've tried the fusion dishes you told me about last time and I've really come up with a few new dishes. The customers are very satisfied." Xiaomi smiled and said, "That's great." So Xiaomi and this head chef knew each other? There's one more thing. When we're done eating, can you? The head chef said embarrassedly, "Sell me 2 packets of spicy rabbit heads produced by Little Rabbit Farm? My daughter loves to eat it, but she can't get her hands on it." The live stream viewers. Are you serious? Look at the logo on his clothes. He's the head chef of a 5-star hotel in Nanqing. Little Rabbit Farm is really popular. Sob sob sob, when will they dare to open a limited time limit? I'm begging Sister E to increase production. Don't you want to be a rich woman in the snack world? I've prepared it for you. Xianxia got up and took out a basket from the side. In addition to spicy rabbit heads, spiced beef, noodles, and a few packets of hot pot seasoning. The head chef was overjoyed and thanked her profusely. At this moment, the small copper pot was also boiling. Xianxia was the first to pick up his chopsticks and began to rinse the cured meat that Xianxia had prepared earlier. The beef and mutton were cut into slightly thick slices and marinated with starch, chili powder, egg, and other ingredients. They were then placed into the spicy pot and boiled. That smell faintly floated to the tip of Mu Si's nose, as if it was seducing his soul, causing his heart to itch. The head chef smelled the aroma and gave Xianxia a thumbs up. "Xiaoyi, your cooking skills are amazing. In terms of seasoning, you're really a genius among geniuses." He had specially researched Little Rabbit Farm's products and wanted to make them for his daughter. But no matter what, the seasoning was still lacking. "You flatter me. If I'm not a chef, I'm afraid I'll have to be thick-skinned and follow them to eat hot pot. The head chef sighed and walked back to the kitchen. Wuxia didn't really understand their conversation, but she could feel that the head chef was praising Xianxia. Could it be that her hot pot tasted pretty good? As for Xiangfeng, he was already panting and sweating. He took out his phone and habitually clicked into the live broadcast room. Seeing that someone was complaining, Xiangfeng was immediately amused. He put down his chopsticks and started a battle on the spot. Eating in a restaurant requires etiquette. But who made the rule that we have to follow that rule when eating at home? We can eat whatever we want. It's none of your business. Not only did he attack physically with words, but he also began to use his actions to attack with magic. Xiangfeng picked up a piece of cured meat and used his hand to block it from behind so that the camera could focus on it. Do you see? This meat is soft, smooth and delicious. It's tender and bouncy. When you eat it, it's numb, spicy and fragrant. He stuffed it into his mouth and smiled mischievously. Do you want to eat it? You can't eat it, haha. The audience was speechless. Thank you for being hurt.